Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the NERDWatch podcast. I, of course, am G Money, here another lovely Tuesday evening right in the heart of Wailuku Town on the beautiful island of Maui in the great state of Hawaii. I am joined, of course, by a legion of fanboys and nerd culture experts, and let me get right to those guys right now, shall I? Of course, starting with this guy right here. He is the producer, seducer. He's also the man who's making a statement about FIFA and how they conduct business on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Kai Kai.
I'm not a producer.
Kai?
I'm still not a producer.
You're a producer.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you are.
Don't live in your delusion.
Yeah, you totally are. You totally are.
No, I'm not. Stop putting labels on me.
Also, joining us this evening, he is our man in black. He's also extended that moniker by making his whole room black. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the master of card tricks and bird magic. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Phormat.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Oh yeah, Phormat in the hizzy, faux shizzy.
Whoa.
Also, what?
Watch it with the crass language.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to offend. Also joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen, this man is our man he's our Dark Knight. He is also the punk rock superstar we've always wanted. I live my dreams vicariously through him. And yes,
Undertaker intro.
Yes, he is also a man who flies around Maui County with a cape, a cowl, and a utility belt, fighting crime and prejudice all over this county. No one else can do it but him. He is also our horror aficionado. Ladies and gentlemen, please show some reverence to the man we call Dark Knight, but he's also known as Gannon. Wow. You know what's funny?
You still haven't muted, dude.
I know. Sorry. My fault.
You didn't even just hear what I said, did you?
No, I missed it. Totally missed it.
I said
Sorry.
I fight pride and prejudice.
Oh, pride. Very good.
But
you know what's so funny? I was trying to update your theme to the new Batfleck theme. Did you know that he technically doesn't have a theme for the new series?
He kind of does. He kind of does. He has his own cues in BVS, but it's kind of interchangeable with the Superman one.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
And you can't go off the Justice League theatrical cut because Danny Elfman decided to phone it in and just use his old stuff for a whole other
stuff. Though. It goes na 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 na. No?
Also, joining us this evening, this guy is our chairman of the comic book board. He is the godfather of comic books. He is the sinister minister of Maui Comic-Con, and he's a self-proclaimed comic master. If there's anybody that's more in support of the boys, it's this guy. He is freaky. He is deaky. He is definitely leaky, and his BBDs can be quite streaky. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Alika. It's Dr. Freaky Daddy Leaky. No, he's not. He's on. What are you talking about?
Okay, there he is.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, he's in.
How's it going, Alika?
Boys. He's all about
lifting
and lifting.
That's good. I'm so glad to hear.
So good to hear all that stupid crap you said about me just now.
Well, first of all, just want to let everybody know, of course, you can watch us simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All the social medias are at the bottom, facebook.com/NERDWatch. Of course, what?
Are you saying simultaneously, like they should watch our show on all four of those things on four different devices?
All three platforms on all different devices.
Yeah, just in case Johnny Mnemonic's in our audience.
Yes, right. Absolutely. Facebook.com/NERDWatch. On YouTube, just look for NERDWatch Nation. And on Twitch, look for NERDWatch 808. NERDWatch 808, all one word. Of course, make sure to leave a like. Smash that like button.
Smash the bells. And,
I like to say finger the like button and turn it a different color. That's what I like to say. Also,
gross.
also want to say that
This
if you guys
my
are
underwear. It's weird.
if you guys would like to comment in the chat, you can, just we'll recognize you on the show as well if you're watching live, just like this guy,
You.
Mr. Paiva. He's banging. He's so happy to. You're on the show. So if you have any questions, comments about tonight's show, because tonight's going to be a big show, we are talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're going to take a lot of time to talk about this tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But of course, before we do that, we do have to check in.
4-hour episode.
Yeah, this is the first 4-hour episode. Actually, technically, it wouldn't be. We haven't done a 4-hour episode in years. But we have to check in with Alika because he's not staying for the entire program. He's got lots of work to do. He's got things on his plate that need to be taken care of because, he's trying to get all the comics in for you guys to enjoy. So let's check in with him because, of course, before we get started, we need to find out what's new this week in the world of the comic books.
All right. So, Alien #1, the first Alien comic printed by Marvel Comics is coming out tomorrow.
Ooh,
It's only got 147 covers.
really?
Hey, listen, are you going to get all 147 covers?
I'm getting 3. I'm getting the regular cover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the Peach Momoko variant.
Nice.
And then I'm getting the Finch launch sketch variant, which is like a 1 per store thing I got.
What's special about the Peach Kamaboko variant?
Can you just Peach Momoko variant?
Got it. Sorry.
It's special because it's done by her, you dumbass.
Damn it.
No,
I
I know.
forgot the joke I was going to say.
Do you know what she's drawing?
Something cool.
Probably
All
an
right.
alien.
All right.
Yeah, I'm willing to wager it's an alien.
I'm willing to wager it's Ellen Ripley.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right, shake hands, bet.
Can we get into a slap fight over it?
Yeah, let's get a slap fight over it. I'd love to see that cover. So when it comes in, let us know. And are they going to be limited? I'm assuming, obviously.
Hey, Carl.
I don't have very
Hi,
many of
Carl.
them, if that's what you mean, but it's because I don't foresee too many people buying an Aliens book printed by Marvel Comics.
Yes.
I
Does
know
that-
I don't want it.
Yeah.
It just
Wow.
seems weird. It's like ordering spaghetti at McDonald's. You just
Yeah,
I'd
you
be
can get
interested,
you can
but-
Simon at McDonald's.
How dare you? You can order spaghetti at Jollibee's.
yeah, but that's the Filipinos. They just don't.
Okay.
I'd be
They don't
interested,
respect,
but it doesn't sound like
cultural
you're
norms.
getting the Electric Boogaloo cover.
So I guess there isn't a lot of hype around the this Marvel Alien comic.
There might be more hype around the variant cover stuff that's leading up to it. There's been some great variants. We'll see how this book is.
Sweet.
How can you get excited about a book that Disney is? I mean, is it going to lead into some kind of cinematic continuation by Disney of the Aliens franchise? Via their ownership of Fox. It's kind of uncomfortable a little bit.
Are we gonna? Hey, listen, it's Disney, so we
Aliens are
might
coming
get
to
the
MCU confirmed.
a flowery chest burster. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That's my next death metal
Hey,
band.
actually, does that mean that the alien queen is a Disney princess?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, sweet. I'm in.
So. All right.
Dude, lower down the
Amazing.
music.
Yeah, the music is so loud. Amazing
sorry, go ahead.
Spider-Man.
What is
Amazing Spider-Man number 62.
62.
7 away from being nice.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't have to say it twice.
Yeah. Black Panther number 24. Carnage, Black, White, and Blood number 1 of 4, following the success of the Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood.
That's hot.
Dune, House Atreides, number 5 of 12. Firefly, Brand New Verse, number 1.
Oh.
King in Black, Scream, number 1. King in
Oh.
Black, still going on. Let's see, a new issue of previews coming out for anybody who wants to see what's coming out in the
I'll
next
take one
few
of them.
months. I bet you will. Michael, we're getting the hardcover Michael Turner Creations, so I think that's just a bunch of his art. Oh, you know what? It's kind of expensive. I think this might be one of those treasury-sized art books.
Oh, cool.
We've got...
What he's saying is you can't afford it, Gannon, so put your wallet back in your pocket.
What are we talking about?
You're
Savage Savage Avengers number 19.
Oh, I don't want that.
Ooh, so sad.
That's still going?
So sad.
Go ahead, Gannon, say it.
Say what?
Avengers.
Oh, it's Avengers?
I like it. I like Avengers.
Man, that's a deep cut. That was a long time ago. I said that. I don't remember
Good
it.
though.
That's how long ago this thing started.
Scumbag number 6, great series. Also, getting the Scumbag trade paperback in, which is the first 5 issues, which is going to be fun. Let's see.
Music.
Usagi.
Why do you keep pitching it up? Leave it alone.
I'm not touching it.
I think it does it automatically if I stop talking.
I think yeah.
Usagi Jimbo number 17. And we're getting the trade paperback of We Only Find Them When They're Dead. So that's the first 5 or 6 issues, which is a great series. Highly recommended. And that is your comic book list.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your comic book list, only from Maui Comics and Collectibles on the beautiful island of Maui in the heart of Wailuku Town. If you like comics, if you like Maui, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Maui Comics and Collectibles is where you can get your latest comics and as well as even maybe see Alika once in a while. And you can say hi. Fist bump.
I'm usually only in there on Wednesdays.
All right. Well, you'll be there tomorrow then. So sweet. So check him out. If you can't make it into the store in Wailuku, of course, you can check him out on Facebook at Maui Comics and Collectibles and on Instagram at Maui Comics. Get your comics today only at Maui Comics and Collectibles. By the way, is there a DC list or are we good?
I got last week's comics. I guess I can.
No, you don't have to. I was just saying if you had any. That's
no. Let's do that real quick. I got let's see. Batman Black and White number 4 came out. Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn number 6 of 6. Oh, the finale of that series.
Nice.
How fun. Future State Teen Titans Ruins number 1, featuring the Red X, the hype new character. Harley Quinn number 1, which is a fun new kind of anime take. I think it kind of looks a little leaning towards the HBO animated style. It's far more pronounced on the cover, at least. I don't know if the interior art is the same way. But that's the new Infinite Frontier Harley Quinn. And
She's still voiced by Kaylee Cuoco?
Yes, when you read the comic, Kaylee Cuoco reads it to you. You jackass.
You stupid man.
And Teen Titans Academy number 1, which also features the new Red X character, which in the Teen Titans Go cartoon is actually Robin, but they haven't revealed his true identity in the comic.
You just spoiled it!
Man.
Oh, man!
Yeah, in case nobody's seen Teen Titans Go, the cartoon.
It's okay, Greg. Nobody reads comics.
Oh, what the hell's your problem? Auntie Kamiki's very excited about Harley Quinn.
He loves all things Harley Quinn.
Like I said, DC is going to be the focus of tonight's show. But before we get to that,
I think you made a box with your hands when you said that.
Focus power.
It looked like a box. I didn't realize you were doing binoculars.
I was doing binoculars. But before we get to that, of course, there is a story that is actually, you could say, kind of taking its place today before we get started on DC and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Big news, Black Widow is going to be on Disney Plus coming July 9th.
It's Disney Plus and theaters, though, isn't it? I think it's both.
It is both. That is correct. Disney Plus is finally, they're relenting. after an entire year and a half,
Good
they're
Lord.
relenting and bringing Black Widow to Disney Plus through Premier Access and in select theaters or limited theaters. Big announcement from, of course, AMC and Regal today was that they will be opening select theaters across the country. So I'm not sure as if that's going to affect us here in Hawaii at all, but just know that coming April 9th, I believe, Regal in Hawaii, I don't know what ones are going to open or if they are at all, but Regal in Hawaii has a possibility of opening if you want to go watch movies. That's number one. Can I just say this before you guys comment? My excitement for Black Widow is not there anymore. I think it took too long. Black Widow waiting till July 9th now seems like doesn't seem it doesn't seem I don't seem excited about it. I don't care about it at this point.
Like you were excited about it even before the pandemic hit. Didn't seem like you had any care for that movie. I mean, I certainly didn't.
To be fair, I really wanted to see what they were going to make of Black Widow's origin. I really was interested in that. But I think that we are so far gone from Black Widow. And now with WandaVision out there telling us what's coming, Black Widow seems like such an afterthought at this point. I mean, hell, I'm hoping to be wrong because I hope this movie is good. I hope it's fantastic.
Well, to be fair, we weren't supposed to be getting it around now anyway.
Right, we were supposed to get it last year.
We were supposed to get it long before we ever saw WandaVision.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So
technically, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is supposed to come out before WandaVision too.
That is correct. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Black Widow will be on Disney Plus, which is great for people that don't want to go to the theaters because of COVID. But they are putting it behind the paywall of Premier Access, which at this point is still $29.99. But that, of course, could all change. Who knows? I do. Also, just as a quick side note, Cruella is also hitting Disney Plus, but that's going to be May 28th, I believe, if I have that correct. So the fact that movie is getting premiered before Black Widow is interesting to me. Number one, and that movie was made.
People care less about that movie than they do Black Widow.
That is very true. And I just and my here's my other thought, and maybe you guys agree or disagree with me on this. I said this in the chat earlier, our little private chat. I said that I think that Disney, there's some writing on the wall, and I think Disney knows that theaters are in trouble. I think the theaters are in trouble, and they know it, and that's why they've held this off. And they were just trying to face the reality of the fact that Black Widow was going to have to come, because I think Disney and Paramount and Universal and all these guys know that they aren't going to be making their money anymore in the theaters like they used to. So they need to get these movies out because they have movies still waiting in the wings. So
you don't
anyway,
think
go ahead.
You don't think that HBO Max putting all their things out theatrical and straight to HBO Max kind of forced their hand a little bit too, though?
Oh no, I completely agree.
Because
but remember,
they're watching HBO Max getting a lot of high profile heat around the movies that they got coming out. You know, regardless
Agreed.
of how these things are doing monetarily for them, but they're watching all this buzz for Snyder Cut, and everybody's watching it. They see the buzz for Godzilla vs. King Kong coming up right behind it, and then so on and so forth. Like even Tom and Jerry seemed like, as I didn't realize that was the actual movie coming out. And then that came out, that people were talking about that too.
If I can say, I think what we find out is, as successful as HBO Max is, and how successful Wonder Woman 84 was, even though that was not a good movie, how successful it was for HBO Max. I think it was a little arrogant of Disney to believe that Black Widow could be held off this long. That's what I think. I think that felt a little arrogant to me.
I think, well, maybe it's arrogance. Maybe it's just they were hopeful that we would be more clear of the pandemic at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
And they're gonna favor the theatrical experience because that Lord knows that's what people want for the Marvel movies. They don't want to necessarily watch these big spectacles on their TV, however good their TVs may be at home. That's
good point.
I mean, plus, I don't really even know how the economics work to instead shove this onto television or streaming services versus putting things out theatrical. I guess they make the money directly, so they don't have to go through distributor channels and having to do percentages and things like that.
It's true. No, you're absolutely right. What the thing was is that the thing about putting Black Widow and all these movies on the Disney Plus platform, you're not sharing revenue with the theaters.
Except
right?
for whatever limited theaters still get it, yeah.
Correct. Right.
Which
Correct.
is really more to help the theaters stay afloat than actually profit. These theaters are not gonna.
Right.
I don't think these theaters are gonna necessarily survive off of these few movies coming out.
No, not even close.
If anything, it's more of a stopgap. It'll probably keep them floating, but not thriving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the revenue share is so thin because, once again, I've been in that business. The revenue share from the box office is so thin. That's why you spend anywhere from $5 to $8 on a candy and a soda a piece, or $10 on a bucket of popcorn. That's because the margins are so thin at the box office.
Are you telling me that popcorn is not $10 everywhere else? What?
I'm telling you that it's $10 everywhere else, and that's because the margins are so thin in the theater business. But I will say this is Black Widow, and the Black Widow will be the first Disney Plus movie that I will buy Premier Access for. I didn't do it for the other.
You're not excited about it. You're gonna spend $30 on it?
But that's what I'm saying. That makes me a little hypocritical. I'll say I'm a little hypocritical. Black Widow will be one that I'll pay for because, number one, I got to watch it because I got to review it with you.
Don't
guys.
they give you guys screeners for this stuff? They gave you 3 episodes of WandaVision.
Hey, you know what? I'm hoping they do. I can't, but of course I can't say that.
I still have a bone to pick with you Hawaiian Film Critics Society folks, by the way.
What?
What
did we do?
Both Barry and Aron were so wild about WandaVision because they got those 3 episodes and said absolutely nothing about it after that.
I don't know.
It just goes to show that reviews truly are bought.
You're such a jerk.
Am I wrong? No, nobody said
not
anything.
True at all.
We're the only ones that still talked about that show past the 3rd episode. Aron had nothing to say about it. Barry had nothing to say about it. Nobody cared about the show.
When's the last time Aron's been on this show?
Episode, so I could watch it at the same time you guys did.
See, so Phormat sacrificed like I did, and I didn't watch him at all because I knew we were going to review him on the show. But you know what? If that means that Aron is better than you, Gannon, that's what it means.
Oh,
okay?
No one's ever said that. I don't think anyone will say that. I don't need to get things for free to have a clear mind on things. All I'm saying is people are clearly bought for their opinions.
Wow, you're such a jerk. What are you talking about? Wow. We give honest reviews. Phormat, me, Aron, and Barry.
Aron has never talked about the show since.
Because he hasn't been on. When he comes on,
he reviews content on the website constantly.
It's true. It's a good point. All right, let me ask, and I'll see what he says.
Are you trying to justify it now?
No, I'm not justifying anything.
At least Barry was man enough to admit he didn't want to pay for Disney Plus to watch the rest of it.
It's fair.
At least he was man enough to admit that much.
I agree with that as well. Well, listen, we can't get too deep in the woods with this. Just know Black Widow. I know, man.
Should we dig into Falcon Winter Soldier first before we get into Snyder Cut? Because that also happened last weekend.
Yeah, sure. Alika, are you okay with that? Because I know you're on a tight schedule. Do you mind if we get into Falcon and Snowman really quick, and then?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, as we know, right before we get to our Zack Snyder Justice League review, another big program did happen to come on the day after that movie did premiere, and that, of course, was Falcon and the Winter Soldier exclusively on Disney Plus. Now, Gannon, since you're the guy who wanted to talk about it, why don't you give us your first thoughts on where this series is going and what you think?
Oh, it sucks.
Wow. All right.
Do this, man.
No.
Do this, man.
It does feel like a step back. It doesn't. I kind of feel like we should have gotten the show first, to be honest. Like, it's longer episodes than WandaVision was, but it just I don't know. It just feels like a step back. There wasn't anything that really excited me about watching it any further.
Interesting you'd say that. What is it about it that you found to be a disappointment?
Well, I mean, it's not like we're gonna get a WandaVision type of show where it's wrapped around some kind of a mystery type basis of storytelling. We already know that, but
got it.
I don't know. I guess there wasn't enough meat on the bone for me to dig in. I mean, we don't even get much story out of it, though. To be fair, like it's what, just barely under 50 minutes, and we don't really have anything set up. We're just kind of all we're really set up with is where these two characters are post Captain America.
To be fair, though, we don't really get any story beats from Snyder Cut until hour 3.
How dare you? Hey, we're not talking about Snyder Cut. Stop it.
Oh,
I feel that that's unfair, but if that's your take, I will respect it.
Okay, Carl says no spoilers. For the fandom that are here, I will oblige to that. I will oblige that request. Captain America's dead. Alika, did you get a chance to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was good.
Hey, listen, I'd like to thank you, Alika, for your succinct review. I appreciate that. That was good.
I mean, they did Falcon dirty, and I just set everything up. It's a good opener episode. There's a lot more to come. So
sure, absolutely.
I like the Winter Soldier stuff where they set up that he's making amends for past deeds. How he's established a friendship with someone.
They're like, this is kind of like WandaVision where they're shoehorning in sitcoms, and this one's My Name Is Earl.
Yeah. Why do I like that analogy? It actually makes sense. Phormat, what did you think?
I had the My Name Is Earl thing too. Also the canyon scene from Independence Day. Yeah. What else? The old dude that Bucky hangs with? I thought he might have been like a war buddy. It didn't dawn on me until later that he was who he was, and I was like, oh.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a buddy from the war who aged normally while Bucky stayed young because he got flash frozen or whatever.
Wait, I like that. Can we use that from now on?
Yeah,
Flash frozen? That's good. I like it.
That is what happened to him.
Yeah, no, it is. It totally is.
Until, someone follows him out and is like, train car, lunchbox.
It's a good point.
Mail bag. And then he's like, murder, kill.
Thumbtack.
Kai, did you get to watch it? What'd you think?
It's all right.
Not a fan, huh?
It's just the first episode, so kind of gotta wait to see some more episodes to get my final opinion.
But do you see what I mean? Like, we liked it, but we're not as enthusiastic about it as we were wanted.
Yeah,
we're not as taken by it as to where it's going as we were with WandaVision.
Sure.
I think a lot of people are going to be
kind of like, all right, here's our characters we remember, and here's where they're at, and that's it. Like, there's not a lot of meat to this first episode. I mean, I'm assuming as things go, we'll dig into it more, of course. But nobody's as enthusiastic in episode 1 as we were with WandaVision.
I think that's fair to say, but I think it's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, we're us, like the regular movie, like MCU viewer is probably stoked to have all the action back.
Yeah. I get you. I would say so. I think so. I think it's about
that action sequence was very James Bond. Like, even the music stings were almost very Bond-esque.
All right, we got to see Murder Bird make an appearance again.
Yeah.
For,
is that a real thing?
Red Wing? Yeah.
It's called Red Wing, which you do not want to look up in the Urban Dictionary.
All right, I'll pass. Thank you, Gannon, for that warning. I think we all know that this is obviously going to go somewhere. I do know.
Walmart Captain America.
I think we know that this might also kind of weave its way into the universe somehow, but it doesn't feel as unique as WandaVision is. So maybe that's the issue.
Well, it was never going to be.
There were all those hexagons.
I feel that was a personal attack. Hey, let Todd in.
Oh no. Oh,
You
no.
know,
Yeah, he's here.
You know, Greg had a chance to ignore that. Then you just had to say it on the show.
Yeah,
Kai. You're
I
a
did.
terrible
I had to
producer.
say it on the show. Thanks. And, I saw him. I wanted to bring him on in a fashionable way, but thanks a lot for ruining it. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may.
I'm doing my part.
Thanks. You screwed it up.
Yeah, you're a terrible producer.
He is the comic book artist extraordinaire. He is the creator of Disco Thunder Groovebone. Of course, his masterpiece, the Kukui Project. And you can check him out every Tuesday night in class at University of Hawaii Maui College. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the comic book artist extraordinaire. It's Todd Bernardi!
Hello,
Todd,
everyone.
nice to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's been a while. Hey, Todd, so listen, here's the thing.
Okay.
A couple of things. Number one, you just got made it in time because we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number two, just to reiterate, since you're just joining us, Alika will not be on with us for the rest of the evening for too long, okay?
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
I think the deal was as soon as Todd signs on, I'm peacing out.
That's fair. That's fair. But
wait, before we do the segment, because I don't want to have to text you guys tomorrow, are you gonna bring me beers at the store?
Sure, man.
why are the deals going down on the podcast? What's going on? Anyway,
You guys drink?
before we go to the Justice League review, Todd, would you like to say anything
there
about
it is.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Is that what Alika's got in his hand? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Can you guess which one is the Winter Soldier?
The white one. I'm talking about the Shochu. I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about, Greg.
Okay, good.
No, I liked it. I watched it. It was great. Looking forward to more of it. And I'm excited that we might get to see Black Widow on Disney Plus.
Wow, so positive about Marvel. I'm so surprised, Todd Bernardi. I'm surprised.
That's not Todd.
That's not,
That's a Todd person.
Todd's a
We used to
scroll.
know Todd is gone.
Todd's a scroll.
I liked it. But I'm really looking forward to Hawkeye now that WandaVision is over. Vision, and like I've said, Vision is sort of my favorite Avenger.
Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier?
Other than Hawkeye.
Nice.
So I would like to see a Hawkeye and Vision. You just buddy drama. Buddy comedy, I mean.
Well, Todd, I would like to say thanks for being on tonight. Appreciate it. And let's get right into it, shall we? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to find out if what the fans had been clamoring for, or fans of Zack Snyder's Snyderverse, quote unquote, are ready for this. Because it's time. Okay? It's time for us to check out Zack Snyder's Justice League Ultimate Review.
I think that our review should be at least 4 hours long, just like the movie.
Each.
Okay. Well, here we go. All right. Because Alika does have things to do, he is going to go first. And then when he has to leave, we can crap over all over his review, so we won't have to hear from him. So,
And then he'll
just
come
keep
back
that-
in anger.
yeah, and then he'll come back very angry and upset, which is exactly what we want. So, yeah, it sounds very fair. So, let's get right to it, shall we? Alika, if you would. Zack Snyder's Justice League Ultimate Review, the CRTV review, by the way.
Yes. You guys enjoyed watching it on 13-inch CRT TV at my house?
Yes, especially with the commentary from your son Benji.
Yeah, that was funny. That was great.
That's quite good.
Wow. All right.
yeah,
So you're
thanks
making me so happy I didn't go now.
Yeah, thanks for not showing up, G.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm still
I want
a little
you to-
confused why he started handing out those 3D glasses. I don't. What was that for?
Greg,
That's
I
funny.
want you to know that Nadia was really worried about you that night. She really wanted you to come. She was
Nadia?
actually Yeah, she was thinking about going and picking you up just because she thought that you needed to be there.
Well, you know what? You know how much I love your wife. She's fantastic. I think the world of her. It's just her husband that I don't like.
It's true.
But
He's a he's a tough pill to swallow.
yeah, he is. Kind of is. But his wife is fantastic.
Pill to swallow.
Anyway, Alika, if you would grace us with your review of Zack Snyder's Justice League after 4 hours, did it live up to the hype?
So, I mean, it's long as hell. But I can see why they didn't do it episode style, because it would, this is a superhero epic. It's not like Hateful Eight was great as an episode thing because it's just like a one set kind of movie. Whereas this is like an epic, and you can't really okay, we'll tune in next week for the next part of this giant epic. You kind of have to watch it all the way through as a movie. But it did help that we were all hanging out and just talking story and kind of because we've seen the movie before. Generally, there's the new things will catch our eye and whatever. But I feel like we were kind of just casually watching. I was enjoying myself. The big things that really got me, of course, are Cyborg. Automatically, Cyborg story. Ray Fisher. You can see why he hates the crap out of Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon boned Ray Fisher hard.
He boned him bad.
Ray Fisher was a big part of the Snyder Cut, and he did some good acting, man. And they just surgically removed him from the whole movie in the Whedon cut. So, screw Joss Whedon.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I really like Cyborg's storyline, and then the Flash. The 2 instances where, spoilers, everybody, he exceeds the speed of light to do funny things with time and energy. Those 2 scenes in the movie are probably my favorite scenes in the whole movie, especially the second time he does it at the end, where the way they graphically represent him turning time back as he's running and the music that they have over it and the presentation of that scene. And this movie's full of slow, epic scenes with, grandiose music and the scale of its. And people are saying that, I lost a lot of scenes in that. But this one scene just stands out. It's the one scene that hangs in my mind as the best, most emotionally, his story with his dad and, the Flash's story arc, aside from the Cyborg story arc was pretty much one of my favorites, but the best moment in this film is that second moment where Flash goes faster than the speed of light to, undo the Unity and fix everything. But, and the way it sets up Flashpoint, and it's just so awesome. Now, I'm going to also say the weakest parts of this movie, the epilogue, everybody knows, is just so awkward and shoehorned. And, Bruce's bad dream, it's they have this epic 10-minute scene in the future post-apocalypse that has nothing to do with what just happened, and then he wakes up Patrick Duffy style and he's taking a shower.
It's Dallas.
Stuff. And then Martian Manhunter.
Batman said a bad word, by the way. He said a very bad word.
What was the bad word?
Batman said a bad word at the end.
Oh, yeah. He said the F-bomb a couple times. It was funny.
Oh, man.
I
couldn't
great.
believe it. My Batman does not have a dirty mouth.
And so...
Yeah, he does.
He totally does. He lives in the gutter. But then Martian Manhunter shows up at the end. He's like, "Hey guys, if you have any more." So the way he showed up. I
like how you make Martian Manhunter a Family Guy character. Hey guys,
because he's so awkward. Because he's he knows about the Justice League because he's watching. He knows enough to go pretend to be Martha Kent to talk to Lois Lane. So he's watching their adventures, but he's just too shy to come talk to them. He's like, hey Bruce, next time you guys go on a adventure, I can fly and I can do things with you guys if you want to bring me next time. And then Bruce is like, sure thing, buddy, and then he flies away.
That is my favorite thing that they established that Martian Manhunter's been there for 3 films now, but didn't seem to want to bother helping.
Right, all of a sudden, right.
Well,
In
no,
three,
it's not
in
that he
three
didn't.
different.
It's not that he didn't want to bother. It's that he's so socially awkward. You know, he's a Martian. He's like, all these cool Earth people. How do I approach? I'm just gonna go to Bruce's house when he wakes up from a dream. I'll just wait outside the window until he wakes up.
If only there was somebody else who was strong enough to kill Doomsday that wasn't weakened by kryptonite, maybe Superman didn't have to die. Unlike a
Point
Martian
taken.
who has all of his
You know,
powers.
it would be great. It would be great if Bruce had said that to Martian Manhunter, and then Martian Manhunter's like, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I gotta go. Yeah, I think my mom's calling.
I think my mom's calling.
It would be even cooler if he was like, I saw that fight, and there was a lot of fire, and I'm not
I can
going
see
anywhere
Batfleck.
near good.
I can see Ben Affleck going, we could have avoided this whole 4-hour cut of this movie if you just came in Batman v Superman and done the duty for Doomsday and Superman be alive. So
He just flat out says, there were a lot of parademons,
yeah,
And my Batmobile is expensive. It keeps getting wrecked every time we do one of these movies.
right. So that way Batman can pass the blame to Martian Manhunter. Like he blames himself for Superman dying, but now he can put it on Martian Manhunter. Listen,
To be completely honest, that would be the most realistic reaction.
Yes,
Be like,
yes.
yo,
Well-
so you were around all this time and you didn't think we might have needed help?
Right.
Yeah,
Think
thanks,
about-
you dick.
So, gee, you brought up the fact that Martian Manhunter could have prevented all this if he prevented Superman from dying. But as we've already learned, he has poor timing. What if he had even worse timing and he came back before they brought Superman back? So they're like, we don't need Superman.
Oh, we don't need
So then,
Superman.
so then,
Yeah.
so then Superman just remains dead.
That's true. That would have been horrible.
That's a good one.
That's a good point. He's like the Scarlet Witch of the DC universe.
Yeah, it's just,
I mean, the whole Martian Manhunter thing, it's pretty clear that those were added in after the fact. I don't think he was ever part of the original Snyder cut.
Yeah,
When you really look at those scenes, they do feel like tacked on scenes, especially the After Martha sequence. I don't think there was that PS originally. I think
Can I tell you? I got to tell you, that's the one Martian Manhunter scene that I thought kind of ruined the emotional resonance.
It sucks the air out of the room because you think it's this really beautiful moment between Martha and Lois, and it's not even really Martha.
Yep. And I wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's Martian Manhunter. I went, oh, it's Martian Manhunter.
I don't want to get ahead into mine, but that's the one thing that whether you hate Zack Snyder or you like Zack Snyder, like he always misses out on the emotional depth of the characters. But that's only because he's not that deep of a dude. He never has been.
He's too busy doing slow
have a
motion.
scene like that, you should have it written a lot better.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, anything else that stick out to you other than Martian Manhunter's horrible timing, Alika?
yeah, that whole prologue was pretty just funny. I mean, I'm glad I was watching that part with you guys. The epilogue, was just very funny because there's so many things that were not. It was just awkward and it was fun to laugh at, but also awesome stuff I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed Batman and Joker have like a 10-minute stupid conversation about nothing. They're just like, well, what about when I
That's
did?
not fair. You should watch it again. There's actually a little bit more subtext to what they're talking about. Watch it
I'm
again.
sure, but it's like Jared Leto's like, and
Well, if you don't like Jared Leto, him in that scene is not going to help you. But if you're paying attention to what they're saying, they're talking about a lot of background.
Darkseid punched Jared Leto so hard the damage tattoo fell off.
Yeah, thank God.
No. I
Thank
mean,
God.
no, because the Joker does talk about how many timelines do you have to go through before you actually fix your problem. So this is still probably the same Joker. It's just he keeps messing with timelines.
I understand.
And he kept, and
In
it
that
was so
timeline, there is
interesting.
no tattoo Joker. It's the same guy, but no tattoo Joker. this time.
Yeah, that's true.
I had fun, but it was not in service to the movie. Like I could have done with or without it.
I'll be completely honest. I'm 100% sure that Zack Snyder said, you know what? I'm going to put this scene here because all my fans are going to want to be like, yo, what happened next? And they're going to fight WB even more to have that paid off now because you don't need that to finish that movie. I'm almost 100% certain he said, let's tack this on because then we'll drive the fans nuts to see how that paid off.
Yeah, obviously. Like I said, it's fun. I had fun with it. Still funny as well as fun.
Well,
And the Joker doesn't know how to laugh to save his life. A guy that's all he does.
So, Alika, in your mind, do you think that this Snyder Cut should exist?
Yeah. I'm glad it exists. It sucks that we had to go through the Whedon cut to get here, because I'm not sure that the original Snyder cut would have been allowed to be 4 hours. Not that I'm saying this one needed to be 4 hours, but I don't know if it would have been as good the first time around as it was this time. I think it was just a cool thing that the fans could feel a part of, because it was like the Sonic the Hedgehog thing. We basically, everybody clamored until they got what they wanted. Which,
if you send enough emails, McDonald's will bring the McRib back. That's kind of basically what it is.
Hey, they brought Szechuan sauce back last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, Alika, any
they want your
any
money.
other?
You tell them they're going to put down money for something and be like, you know what, these kids want this. Let's give it to them.
Anything else that's stuck out in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a movie about heroes, so let's thank the real heroes, which are the toxic fanboys that brought us the Snyder Cut.
Amen. I'm going to applaud that. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Yeah, wrong one.
Wrong one. Here we go. Here. Yes. Thank your
Don't
lucky
applaud
stars for toxic fandom for
Don't
bringing you the
applaud that.
Snyder Cut. Yes.
You know what's super awesome is people that keep lumping in everybody with the most vocal negative
Tell
people.
your-
That's right.
If you don't like,
Tell your
look,
cellmates to calm the F down.
if
Yes,
you like,
thank you.
if you like the Snyder Cut, then you're a toxic fanboy, and if there's like anything that you don't like about the new Star Wars movies, you're also a toxic fanboy.
Yeah, nothing makes sense anymore.
Toxic Avengers.
The
That's
Toxic Avengers. Very good.
Or the
Ron
Toxicers.
Cataguy's in the chat. He said, too bad
Avengers.
Flash doesn't know how to stop properly. Loves
I
taking
know. He
trips.
just kept eating shit and just like flying into
Maybe
walls.
he
and
hasn't
stuff.
been the Flash that long yet.
Yeah.
long enough to have a suit.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, I guess
But he
you're
doesn't
right.
have a name.
And by the way, that's the one thing I think they glossed over, not to get into my review yet. I didn't like the fact that they glossed over how Flash got his suit. I didn't like that. I really wanted to know what,
I feel like
If-
you get enough information to know, because Bruce Wayne is talking about, oh, you use this for this. This is what this is used for. I think from just looking at his Flash layer, you kind of get the sense that he's just cobbling these things together and figuring things out.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
don't think he paid for any of that stuff. It's just stuff that he's probably stealing it, to be honest with you. But he's on this mission to try and figure out what happened to his mother. So we don't get deep into that, but I feel like visually there's enough information for you to kind of figure it out in your own mind what's going on there.
Sure. Well, listen, Alika, before I, put it over or take it over to Todd, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I had a fun time watching with you guys, and I like comics and comic-based stuff. And the Joss Whedon cut sucked balls. It really did.
I tell you what, I liked the Joss Whedon cut a lot less because of this. I will say that.
No, I mean, I didn't like the Joss Whedon cut the first thing off the bat. It was just incoherent. Like, a lot of the plot just wasn't there. Like, you could tell there was a lot of stuff missing. And granted, this 4-hour movie is a huge slog, but at least there's coherent plot points. People may not like the depth of the characters that they get into. Maybe it's a little too shallow, or he doesn't go too far, but at least there's like lineal, sequential storytelling going on, and that's
Well, here's a question that I have for you guys, and right before you have to leave, Alika, you can stay as long as you want. By the way, I'm not pushing you out by any stretch.
Yeah, I'll
But-
listen to you a-holes, but I'm not gonna participate.
All right. Well, here's what I want to know, and like I said, we'll get to everybody's review here in a second. There's a very interesting conversation going around the interwebs, obviously, about how this movie is what is not now. They're saying that this isn't the original movie. They're saying
The
that
original
Josh.
Snyder cut, yeah.
Right. My question is this: I actually disagree with that, because I think that this was the
Well, you're
movie.
stupid.
This was the movie they were supposed to put out before WB interfered.
I don't think it's the movie. I think he may have
No.
wrote the script of this movie, and but
Let's say best case scenario, what happened in his family didn't happen. He was bound to the studio to cut it down to exactly what they wanted.
Right.
There's
But
a
they also
there's a
they also
slim
said that
chance. There's a
to
slim
lighten it up.
chance. Huh?
I said they also said he was supposed to wasn't one of Joss Whedon's very first protocols to not just slim it down but also make it less dark. We don't like this storyline. Wasn't that
like? Well, what I was trying to say is that let's say in a perfect world he was able to trim it down to the cut that they wanted and to lighten it up with a few extra reshoots. It at least would have been more consistent to have one director kind of guiding that, because it's clear as day where the handoff is from one to the next. Almost as literally as something like a background doesn't match or an actor looks a little puffier in one shot than the next. Or somebody looks like they're wearing a hairpiece that they weren't wearing in literally just 3 seconds before. So in a perfect world, but then again, like the other question is, he was probably fighting them so hard to keep everything that he wanted to keep that who's to say he might not have left under any other circumstance, or he just would have said, you know what, just edit it however you want. And then we would have had something similar to what Suicide Squad was, where David Ayer still says it's his, but it was chopped up by a trailer house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good point.
That's a very similar circumstance. They wanted to get a different kind of movie. They took it away from the director, and somebody else, a trailer house, people that don't even make movies, chopped it up to make it into what they did.
Now, do you think, ultimately, do you think if this movie did get released in 3 years ago, I don't think this would be the movie that got released. I think it would have been cut down, and I don't think we would have had as a complete and whole experience as we got with what we got on HBO Max.
Best case scenario, let's say he was able to battle the studio to get something closer to what he wanted out. It more than likely would have been a 3-hour movie.
Right.
I don't think he could have gotten it down to 2 hours and change. Just from seeing the Snyder cut, you do get a sense of like there was a lot that was necessary to tell the story, but then there's a lot of other stuff that was complete self-indulgent, Zack Snyder-y nonsense that he's afforded the chance to put it into this because it's on a streaming network. He's not bound to a theater chain to so he can put in every single thing he wanted to have in that movie. So you get stuck with Norwegian girl singing over a sweater. You get, a extra long cyborg sequence where he just helps out a waitress. Those things would not have survived in a theatrical cut at all. Those things would have been the first thing to go.
Good point.
The Aquaman sequence, I don't know if it is, but it feels a little bit longer. That scene where he walks out on the dock, small things like that. A lot of those things would have been chopped up. But even weird, not sequential, like even things that like you figure would have been kept in the movie for the theatrical experience, like they chopped up Wonder Woman's fight sequence, that very opening fight sequence. There's a lot of great stuff in that they chopped out, and it feels like they kept the less cool stuff in the theatrical version, like where she just tears those guys apart.
But they had to cut those parts out so that they could be PG-13 instead of R.
But there's no blood in it.
There's tons of. She smashes a guy's skull against a wall, and there's blood smeared behind it.
You don't see his head cave in.
Yeah, you kind of do. I mean, it's implied. It's implied by the smear that he leaves on the wall.
Implication that makes it graphic, or actually seeing it that makes it graphic is the point.
I think the implication makes it graphic, don't you? Yeah. I mean, the imagination is worse than what you see.
If I squished a ketchup packet behind my head, do you think I just stabbed myself in the brain? No.
Holy crap! Why are you stabbing yourself in the brain?
Why are you stabbing yourself in the brain? God,
I think that a lot of the violence was edited out to be softer, so that they could definitely get that PG-13 rating.
I mean, I'll give you that, but I don't know how that has to do with the rating necessarily.
She turned that poor guy into a blood cloud in front of those kids.
She did.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I can't defend. That's so overboard to stop one guy.
Like, damn! I thought you were fast enough. Like, why didn't you just go and grab the gun?
And I had no bullets either. Like, there's no reason she had to do that. It's like
nobody points out the fact that she's like murdering people throughout the entire movie. She chops off. She's
not bound by the Batman Superman rule, sir. Wonder Woman is not bound by the rule.
She's an Amazonian. She's an Amazonian. That is true.
Warriors.
Ryan Rigo in the chat says the Justice League story was written before Batman v Superman came out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know
because they jumped into Justice League right afterwards. Almost immediately afterwards. They weren't shot back.
Ryan also says Batman v Superman ruined everything.
Sure.
Well, the
not?
extended cut of when I saw the director's cut of Batman v Superman, I was really skeptical of Justice League, and after I saw Justice League, I was like, oh man, they butchered it, just because they had butchered Batman v Superman the same way. Like
Well, Todd,
that director's cut, BBS really needed to happen. It needed to be 3 hours or 3.5 hours or whatever it was.
Todd, because you haven't been on in a long time, I am going to throw the ball into your court, and I'd like to know what you thought of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
It made a ton of sense. All the characters were fully developed. People want to say that it was a slow movie and there was too much slow-mo in it. My first takeaway from that is that it really operates the way a comic panel would, where you have bigger panels and smaller panels, and everything sort of constricts with time, and so you spend a little bit more time on something that's supposed to be highlighted, and then you speed it up to show a lot of action. And I think that Zack Snyder does that brilliantly, and I think that that's the reason that there's all of this slow-mo, because you want to see Batman land that punch, and that's a specific panel that we want to focus on, and then the sped up stuff is panel, where it's just and we talked about it after the movie, and I'd like to expand on it a little bit more, but we talked about that scene where Flash grabbed all the bricks, and it was just you just saw the lightning in the dust cloud of him grabbing all the bricks, and that was straight out of a Grant Morrison comic book. And I defend Zack Snyder over and over because the guy's got one move. He sees something in a comic book, he puts it into a movie, and he does it the way that he would read a comic book.
I'll give you that.
So he's never really done anything. I mean, even the thing that he's most well known for is a remake of a zombie movie. That was how he got his start. So then he started adapting all of these comic book films, and he just basically took panels and put them in motion, and in varying degrees of quickness. The other thing that my larger complaint about the movie is that people are saying that if you liked it, then you're a toxic fanboy. And I don't appreciate that, just because I'm not. I think that this movie got made because of all the charitable work that went in behind the scenes. And I think that there is that element, but it's a small minority of another minority.
Agreed.
I think that they're very loud, they're very vocal, and they're very vicious online.
And nobody likes to point out that the people that like to point them out are being toxic in their own right as well. Nobody seems to want to reverse the mirror on that. Like, people get toxic about the toxic fanboys, and they don't seem to acknowledge. And again, like Todd's saying, not in all cases, but the more vicious it gets, that's where the toxicity comes in.
Yeah,
I feel this is directed at Alika, and I agree with that.
Like, when you're trying to tell somebody something sucks and that they shouldn't like it because you think it sucks, that's toxic. You have every right in the world to not like something, but you shouldn't be going out of your way to tell somebody else that they should hate it because it sucks.
And so I think that
where I get to it. That's something I bump up against a lot too.
And so I think that a lot of critics who have said that they didn't like the movie all point to the controversy surrounding the movie and the way that the film got made, and how this is just validating the toxic fan culture that surrounds these types of movies. And I don't think that that's true at all. And I think that, as a matter of fact, Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder have both come out and sort of denounced that type of behavior. But I think that a lot of people that are criticizing this movie are attacking Zack Snyder, and they're saying that he's a misogynist. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I haven't read into it. I think a lot of people point to Sucker Punch as this toxic, misogynistic fantasy.
That one is bad, though. that one
Well,
is.
a
That
lot
one
of
is
people
bad.
the people that do defend it say that it's this is actually a feminist treatise, and you can make that argument too. But
I just thought it was a bad
would-
movie. I didn't think there was any commentary behind it. I just thought it wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a I mean, what that movie does is a very misguided attempt at trying to tell a story centered around feminism, but the way it's conveyed is completely off the mark.
yeah.
And it's
So
disrespectful to the point. But that's a whole other thing.
Right, and so people point to Zack Snyder and point to his previous films and his failure as a director, and the way that his previous two movies were dark. I felt like this was a very light movie. It's very bright. It's not colorful like a Marvel film, but that doesn't mean that it's not a superhero story. And it's very, very bright, and there's a lot of light to it. When I watched it the first time, that's one of the things that I noticed right off the bat. And then when I watched it at Alika's for the second time, I was like, this is just so much brighter and lighter than Batman v Superman. And Batman v Superman was supposed to it was a dark movie. I mean, Batman's supposed to be scary in that.
Good point.
I've never understood the criticism of Justice League being too dark to the point where you can't see what's going on. That feels like it's such an overstated, obvious criticism as opposed to an actual objective one. Because I watched the same movies they did, and I've watched it at my own home, and I watched it at Alika's house, and TVs are set differently, sure, but I never thought it was so dark that if you can't tell what's going on or what character's doing what, then you have a problem. But if you can clearly see what's happening, then maybe it's just when stuff happens at night, it's not gonna be very well lit. It's just kind of basically what it comes down to.
I like those Christopher Nolan movies too, but that guy cannot shoot a fight scene to save his life.
It's the last thing he's interested in.
And Zack Snyder pulls it off so beautifully in all of these movies. BVS for sure, and to a certain extent this movie too. But they're beautifully shot. They're very it's very widescreen, pulled back. You get to see the scope of the set and the setting. This is Zack Snyder's Lawrence of Arabia.
Can I say this? Can I say this? Would you say that Zack Snyder is the Uwe Boll of mainstream comic book movies?
No, I would say that he's actually I think he's really important to the superhero genre. I'd like to see him make a different type of comic book movie though. I think
I'm going to tell you something, Todd. You said something that Gannon scoffed at, but I think you're right. If you think about it, this is Zack Snyder's Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, he's never going to.
Somebody's trying to get mentioned on Masters of the Obvious next
No.
Think
about it. Zack is not going to make an epic David Lean movie. Lawrence of Arabia is fantastic, by the way. But this is his version of it. And I can see where Todd is coming from on that. I actually agree with him on that. I think that makes sense. This is his opus, is what this is.
I mean, the main thing I'll always agree with is that Zack Snyder, even people that hate Zack Snyder will always say he's a visually rich storyteller. You cannot argue that. Right. His movies are much more visually interesting to watch than even most Marvel movies. Nobody's going to argue that. Where he fails, though, is that he doesn't really get the characters. The characters are more props in a Zack Snyder movie as opposed to the characters they actually are.
I disagree with that. 200%.
Okay, but when you think of a DC character, I mean, Wonder Woman's the only one that comes across that way, but she gets one moment to do that. DC characters, they're meant to inspire. That's the whole point to most of them.
Sure.
I mean,
and none of them do that. Like they don't really save anyone. Not really. Wonder Woman saves those people in that one sequence. The rest of it's just they're fighting in an abandoned area. They're not saving people. Superman, through 3 movies now, has been said to have been this public figure, to be, the savior of the planet. But when has he done it? From all these movies, there's almost no reason they should feel that way about him.
Since
from Man of Steel.
Well, since Superman has been rebooted, in 1987. He's always been an alien. But you got to see
The hell do you say?
They've always played up the extraterrestrial aspect of him. They've always played out the Kryptonian aspect of him.
And Zack Snyder really does not only interrupt, but he actually also plays up the savior aspect of him. He did it in he did it in this one.
But it's told to you. You don't feel that. He tells you that he is
Visually, yes, I agree.
But no. He tells you that with a newspaper clipping. He tells you that because people show up for his funeral. But what has he done to have earned that respect from those people? Almost nothing.
To be fair to Todd's point, that's exactly what they do in comic books.
No,
I mean,
comic books actually take the time to really earn that thing. In the space of one movie where Superman is Superman for like less than 40 minutes and tears up an entire city fighting one guy. I mean, I'll accept that movie for what it is and what it's doing, and I'll accept all of Zack Snyder's movies the way he does them. But it's not quite the DC characters. It's not quite. They look like them. They talk like them. They move like them. But I don't get the feeling for Superman that I really kind of should.
You know what? I'll agree with that.
And here's what I'm saying. I've said this a million times on this pod. I don't get precious about this stuff. Like, I want to see something done interesting with the characters. So if they do something different, then they do something different. But I think the reason why people are a lot more critical about the DC movies than the Marvel movies is because they have these built-in perceptions of how these characters act, behave, and are looked at.
Agreed.
Zack Snyder doesn't really do that. He nails Batman because Batman's really easy to get if you know how to do dark and you know how to do action. He doesn't get Superman. He gets Wonder Woman very superficially, but the Flash is completely different from what the Flash is really like. He's a little bit more almost Spider-Man like, being quippy and being, almost more like a kid. Aquaman is basically just, we want to get a barbarian type to be Aquaman. There's nothing really about Aquaman to Momo. But again, and I'm not saying that like we have to get that in the movies. I kind of want to see these things kind of tweaked. But then again, if Barry, something I talked to Todd about completely off camera, how does the Flash get his powers in this universe?
Yeah,
because he's not a criminal scientist yet.
I wanted to know that too. I did want to know that as well.
Yeah,
I
we
agree.
don't necessarily need to get that, but he's so radically tweaked just to have the Flash in this movie.
I will say, movie for movie, I think, Gannon, you do have a point. I was more inspired and connected to Christopher Reeve's Superman than Henry Cavill's. And I think, and movie for movie, I think that, I mean, it's almost an unfair comparison, but there's something about Christopher Reeve's Superman that resonates as far as movies go.
It's his performance. It's just the way he carries himself. In Zack Snyder's version of Superman, and I appreciate it for what it is. Zack Snyder's doing the story of Superman born today. He's saying, okay, if Superman was born for today's age, he wouldn't be golly shucks. He wouldn't be, super prim and proper. He's raised by parents who are terrified of what could happen to him if they ever figure him out. It's sure. I appreciate seeing something kind of different done with it, but it's, again, this is the DC universe in Zack Snyder's eyes, and I take it as just that. And again, I don't get precious about it.
Well, I disagree. I think that this is the DC universe as we've seen it for, since the late 80s. I think that in the modern comic book era, Superman's always been this outsider character. He's never been the aw shucks Boy Scout, and he's killed in the last 30 years. He's Batman's used a gun recently as killing Darkseid. I think that I think that
wouldn't a guy that doesn't have powers have to use a gun though against Darkseid? Don't you think those are extenuating?
Right, but that
guy in a suplex.
Part of the genius of that strategy is that Darkseid would never consider him using a gun because he doesn't use a gun, and I think that was part of the way that story was written. There are all of these things that have happened in DC Comics that I think people who are just familiar with the Christopher Reeves movies and Superman, through the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini cartoons, like, yeah, he's not that. But I think that he's closer to the comics than Superman Returns was. I think that he's closer to the comics than Smallville was.
Yep.
Well, Smallville's crap. So.
Yeah. First of all, it wasn't crap, but it was not great. Stop it.
After the first 4 seasons, it was crap. Sorry.
All right, fair. That's fair.
Once they start finding ancient ruins that give Lana Lang kung fu powers, your show's in trouble.
She was auditioning for Street Fighter's Chun-Li. Stop it.
But that first half of Man of Steel is right out of a Mark Waid comic. And he sprinkles some realism in it. The other thing that I'm going to say though too is that people say that he's not a very deep person or a very character-driven person, but he just released a movie where 2 fathers got to bring their children back to life. Victor gets to bring back Cyborg. Arcelius gets to bring back Victor. And then Martha Kent gets to see Superman again, gets to see Clark Kent again. And you kind of feel for the guy. Your heart kind of aches for the dude because he's never going to get to see his daughter again. And so he got to sort of cathartically express that in this movie. And everybody who's seen the movie completely ignores that.
What's interesting is that what I was just thinking about what Gannon said. The only thing Superman has done heroically that a human could relate to, he hasn't done. The only thing that happens in Man of Steel that is even heroic that we can relate to is when Clark's dad stops young Clark from going after him while he walks into the tornado.
God, that was so stupid.
And people say that, but I'm from Oklahoma.
Say that.
I'm from Oklahoma, and a tornado hit a highway in Oklahoma City 3 weeks before that movie came out and killed 13 people.
I'm not saying the fact that a tornado hitting a highway is stupid. I'm saying Kevin Costner's stupid. Just like he is in every movie he's in.
Hey, first of all, no one can pull off hand acting like Kevin Costner.
You know what? I'm gonna present Charlie Chaplin.
Kevin Costner isn't stupid. Jonathan Kent is stupid.
Yeah,
and everybody says
Kevin Costner.
And everybody says, oh, the dog wouldn't be that scared. The dog would be the first thing out of that car. Have you ever seen a dog during a 4th of July fireworks parade?
Did I say anything about the stupid dog? I'm saying,
right.
Look. First of all, Superman has subsonic hearing, so Jonathan Kent didn't even have to make a big show. He could have just sat in the car and been like, "Hey, my son, can you run behind all these morons and just kind of rescue me without them seeing?" And then Superman would have been like, "Aye, aye, Captain, gotcha." No. Instead he's like, hey son, watch me die in front of these strangers, and I'm going to imply that it's because of the strangers that you're letting me die.
You guys missed the subtext.
How dare you?
You guys missed the subtext.
There's no subtext. It was stupid.
No, there was. Jonathan Kent took out a $2 million life insurance policy on himself.
Yeah, but you know what? Fat load of good it did him because the farm was getting reclaimed in 2 years from then. So
Martha blew all of her money on Amazon stuff.
Right. Yeah. There's a bunch of hookers and blows she was into.
Yeah, Ma Kent.
Yeah,
I think that was a nice touch about the tornado.
I thought it was a nice touch that Jonathan Kent suicided himself by a tornado.
He was showing his son. He was not telling his son not to help. He was telling his son not to.
Let me commit suicide by tornado.
He was telling his son not to show his powers.
I've been wanting this to be over for a while, Clark. This is my out. Don't.
Yeah, he's our marriage. I'm not happy. Just let me go.
Clark, you haven't noticed that we haven't been happy for years.
I just loved the way that Clark goes on this quest across the globe and saves people all along the way. trying to actually save his father. Like that's
Right.
what meta,
Yeah,
that's
he's
what I
like,
felt.
Right, that's
Hey,
the meta of it, Todd. I agree.
Gee, son, I hope this doesn't mess you up in any way. Just let me, just watch me die there, even though we could easily make this work.
He wasn't telling his son not to help him. He was telling his son not to do his powers because he didn't want him to reveal himself. That's a true father right there. To sacrifice himself for his son.
He could have.
Wait a minute.
There was a lot of dust and clouds. He could have done it without being seen.
I mean, to back up Alika on this one, I do feel like there was a way to do that where they could have found a way to explain their way out of it. Being that Clark literally pushed a bus out of a lake to save a bunch of kids.
Nobody saw him do it.
Nobody
One
was
girl,
on then,
one girl
so why
saw
would
him do
it
it.
be onto him now if he saved his dad from a tornado?
Yeah,
Well,
Clark could literally save his dad, and then he could turn on his laser eyes to the witnesses and be like, "Say a word of this, and you're dead."
And then the movie turns into Brightburn.
Yeah.
That does. Anyway,
But Pa Kent's still alive.
Pa Kent is. I'm telling you, I thought it was a heroic act. Todd, I am in total agreement with you.
Can we get a rebooted DCEU where Pa Kent survives, please? Can we have Zack Snyder reverse it back that far?
In the movies and TV shows, he always dies, unfortunately.
You know who would be happy about that on this podcast?
Kevin
Aron.
Costner.
No, Aron. Yeah.
Oh wait! Oh, you got me. Am I advocating to save Kevin Costner?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Oh,
Yes,
you got me. Now I feel awful. Now I just feel
I'm
terrible.
always happy to see Kevin
Loophole.
Costner die in something.
I'm sorry.
Terrible, terrible people. You guys are
Yeah,
horrible.
So I think that, but over the course of these movies, you've gotten to see. I think that the Superman's character has gotten more heroic. It's expanded. He got a lot quieter and happier after he was back, and he even said that he's got a second chance to do something right. And I think that you're eventually going to get that Boy Scout. I think that a lot of people think that they missed the Superman character, but Superman's not even Superman in Man of Steel, and then you never even get to see Clark Kent as genius, reporter or journal.
They call him Superman.
Ace reporter.
That what I mean is it's not. Man of Steel is called Man of Steel because it's not about.
Because he's not Superman.
It's not Superman yet.
Correct. I agree.
And
I agree with Todd again.
he gets that moniker, during the course of that, but he doesn't know how heroic he can be. He doesn't become. You don't get to see him really become in touch or become human until he really asserts his identity, or his alter ego as Clark Kent and Batman v Superman, and then they cut all of that out too. And then they put it back in for the director's cut. So I think that all of the character work that people are, that wanting with Superman, DC is just kind of obliterated through committee. I don't fault Zack Snyder for that. I don't think that's. I don't think Zack Snyder intentionally wants to get any of these characters wrong, or that he doesn't actually understand these characters. I think that what's happening is the WB is saying, well, we're not going to be able to fit that many showings into the theaters, so we're not going to be able to maximize our profits. So you need to make it 2 hours, And if you want to make it 2 hours, that's fine. But give us another Superman movie. Give us an Aquaman movie. Give us another Wonder Woman movie.
Give us another Shazam, right?
Yeah, don't give us Justice League, or
right.
don't give us Justice League and Superman v Batman without a Man of Steel 2 and a Batman standalone movie and everything.
That makes sense.
I think that and Gannon said it before. We've talked about it off. Off camera, Batman, Zack Snyder gets Batman pretty well. And I think that Ben Affleck's performance, it was fantastic. And I think
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think Ben Affleck got shafted by not being able to be Batman in his own movie. I really think he got shafted. So
they all did. Every single character did.
Yeah. But if you've read the New 52 Justice League by Jeff Johns, you knew that was a cyborg sort of origin story. And that's what this Justice League movie was supposed to be. we were supposed to get a very cyborg heavy Justice League origin, kind of coalescing around him.
True.
And so when you remove all the cyborg out of the center of the movie, that you get it's the whole warm, happy, fuzzy center of it.
Well, the heart. I mean, Cyborg is literally the heart of that movie.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I agree.
So,
and I think I really want to see. I want to see a Cyborg movie now with Ray Fisher. Yeah.
I don't think he's ever going to work with WB again, though.
Nope, not again. Nope.
One of the things in the last thing I'm going to say about this is that people say that they get the characters or the tone of the comic books wrong, and I don't agree with that. This is straight out of Dark Knight Returns. This is straight out of The Death of Superman. This is there's several other, and straight out of the New 52 Jeff Johns comic book. And if you're paying attention, you know that. And so to say that these are not comic book movies or not a superhero movie,
and if you're not paying attention to that, frick you.
No, I'm not saying that either. And Marvel people can like Marvel stuff, and they just don't watch the DC stuff. It's like you obviously, you know what I mean? Like if you're a Marvel fan, DC's not for you. If you're a Marvel fan, you're not reading DC comics. You know what I mean? You're reading Marvel comics. So you're always going to misunderstand DC superheroes. They're completely different from each other.
You're gonna hold the DC movies up against how Marvel does it,
which is ridiculous. Also,
it's not fair to compare one to the other if they're both going for something different. Because DC Warner Brothers movies in particular, they do a lot of things that Marvel movies don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Even the ones that fail don't. Suicide Squad is a lot more visually interesting than a lot of Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It's not a great movie, but it's a little bit more visually interesting. The action sequences in almost most DC movies, with the exception of the Christopher Nolan ones, they go for really great action in almost all of their movies. Marvel movies focuses on the characters, which is great. But once the action scenes kick in, a lot of them are very bland. There's not a lot of exciting action to it. Their excitement is just like, here's this character getting shoved into this character. It's smashing action figures together. There's not. It doesn't feel like there's a ton of thought put into their action sequences. But I don't consider that a fault necessarily either, because they do the work into getting all the character stuff together before the action happens.
I will say
they've got great action, but sometimes it's hit or miss when it comes to their character work before those things take place.
I will say this, and this is not a negative or a positive, but you would never get the reception to the ending of Justice League the way that you got it for Endgame, right? But to be fair, these are totally different movies. So I don't think, and I can't believe I'm with
you, though.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Todd on this, but he's right. These are two very different movies. This isn't and maybe that's what we've been getting wrong this whole time. Everything is being equated to Marvel and how they did everything. I think what Zack did, especially with this, is something that is more. It's a little more pared back. It looks a little more inward, maybe. So we're not getting the character that we want per se. And these are superheroes for today, and in some respect.
Like I said before, it's his version of these characters. That's why I accept it for what it is. I mean, it's.
But Todd said he said it's not, though. He said, Todd, this is from the comics. Is what Todd was saying.
And I don't want to disagree with Todd, but at the end of the day, this is the characters through his eyes. Period.
All right.
Regardless of anything. Maybe he does know the DC comics well enough to know that he's nailing it the way Todd is talking about. But at the end of the day, it's still how he wants these characters to behave, how he wants them to look, how he wants them to come across in the worlds that they're in. Whether or not he's got the lore of the comics right or not, it's still his lens of what these characters are in his world. Period.
I'm definitely not. I definitely believe that there's no 60s or 70s or 50s or influence of, there's no World's Finest, there's no mod Wonder Woman, there's not going to be any goofy Mr. Mixelplick in the Zack Snyder universe.
No, there will be. It could be Joe Pesci. Mark my words.
I'd be down for that, I guess. But yeah, I just don't think that I don't think that as a Marvel fan, you're ever going to be open-minded enough to really enjoy any of these DC movies. They're not going to be. They're always going to be like, well, it's not as good as Marvel, and I love Marvel. Marvel's the best, Do
you think people are actually picking sides on this, Todd? Do you think that that's happening?
I think that it's been happening since 2008. I think that a lot of people. I think a lot of people just decided,
I would go a lot further back than that.
Well, since as far as the movie universes go.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you talk about just the comics, there's people that have been doing that since even just the comics, even though like one rips off the other and all that.
Right.
It's always been there. It's just a new version of that argument.
Yeah.
I would think movies would bring people more together, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
You can put a lot of people in the same box. Doesn't mean they're going to all agree with each other.
It's true. Yeah. It's a good point. Well, listen, Todd Bernardi. Go ahead.
The one last thing is that I'm really glad that we can put all this Marvel versus DC stuff behind us. WandaVision, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Winter Soldier and Falcon, and just really look forward to the premiere superhero franchise that's coming out on Amazon Prime with Invincible. I mean,
you just said that like you were Aron getting the first 3 episodes for free.
Wow.
I like it.
Very good, Todd. Very good.
We can debate Marvel versus DC all day.
Robert Kirkman today,
but it's always going to pale in comparison to Image and what they've accomplished in their premier flagship superhero comic, Invincible.
I think somebody in this podcast is blowing smoke up Robert Kirkman's skirt right now.
I miss when this podcast is full of people that weren't paid for their opinions.
Shut your mouth. Now we'll all talk still, but I wanted to get Phormat in here and get Kai in here a little bit. Phormat, you were privy to watching.
Todd done adding one final thing.
hey, Phormat.
You've done that 4 times,
Phormat.
Hey, before I go, one final thing.
Phormat, one final thing.
Phormat, you were able to watch it in all of its 4:3 glory at Alika's house. What do you think?
That aspect ratio, man, murder. Well, hey, I wanted to touch back on the Costner thing. So you guys don't honor the memory of your father by impaling 18-wheelers with telephone poles?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
Well, I did that because some guy picked on him, and he was like, "I'm gonna go."
No, well, you guys said he went on a journey.
He did
to honor his father.
That's right.
And the first thing he does is stab a 18-wheeler with telephone poles.
That's right. He was frustrated. Okay, his dad died.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if that is the journey, then that's part of the journey.
Hey, listen. Let's be honest.
People have good and bad days on their journeys, Phormat.
Listen, it's Kal-El.
I get it. I'm just saying that that should be brought up too.
Can I be fair? He showed a lot of restraint. Okay, let's be fair.
Did he? He just cost this poor guy, his job because he got shoved around in a thing, and he didn't even move him.
It's true.
There is something I want to say before you let Phormat talk.
It's true.
Go for it.
Ann Sarnoff, who I guess is the CEO of Warner Brothers, she did some kind of statement. I think it's for Variety, saying that Warner Brothers as a company will no longer tolerate the reprehensible attitude of the toxic fandom towards them for these kinds of things. But however, she says nothing about the reprehensible antics of Joss Whedon under their tutelage to fix a movie that they just refixed back. She seemed to have no problem.
I think
point should with Joss Whedon getting them investigated over his terrible behavior. That wasn't reprehensible, but a bunch of fans that were defending
I
somebody
agree with that.
Right.
vision.
Yeah.
And yes,
Here, here.
there's probably some people that are being ugly about it, but they weren't all being ugly about
And
it.
can I say
Ray
something?
Fisher is.
We talked about this before in more of a private setting, but this is what I was talking about. Ray Fisher put his career on the line and his stake in making money and being Victor Stone and Cyborg in Warner Brothers movies to bring the truth out. That took, for me, at least, for him to sacrifice that did take a lot of courage for him. And
You
he's
know
not
what-
going to play.
Yeah,
You
for
know
sure.
what Marvel
Here, here.
should do? That would be a huge deal. They should hire Ray Fisher to be Black Panther.
Wow.
That'd be
Whoa.
That would be one hell of
That'd
a
be
move, man.
huge. Not necessarily T'Challa, but he's the next Black.
Right.
He could be
Marvel-
he could be
If Marvel
T'Challa.
wanted to do something really big that like fans that like that have been like, people that are behind Ray Fisher and what he's been trying to do against WB, if Marvel was smart, they'd be like, you know what, let's make that dude the next Black Panther and really stick it in DC's ribs.
Normally I don't, I just think Ray Fisher, when you have something on the line like he did, and the fact that he spoke up when he did, that does take some courage.
He's a young actor with not a ton of clout behind him yet.
Exactly.
So, a lot of these other guys, they're just staying quiet about it because, they're in a place where they don't want to jeopardize where they're at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Ben Affleck, he wants to maintain a relationship with Warner Brothers to keep making the movies that he's making. Gal Gadot
Right.
is just starting to get her feet wet. You know what I mean? And then, Jason Momoa, he's got Aquaman. He doesn't want to jeopardize that. Ray
Right.
Fisher on the opposite end is just like, you know what? Screw it.
Yeah. Good for
They
him.
already screwed me over anyway. What do I have to lose?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
Good for
I have
him.
mad respect for the guy because he's
Me
not
too.
letting up either. He's still like, you know what? Release your findings. You keep saying that there was nothing to report, but you haven't released your findings either.
Yep. Good for him. Good for
And yet
him.
half
Anyway,
the people that he brings up don't work for WB, or at least
WB
not
anymore.
as they used to.
that's right. That's absolutely right. All right, Phormat, what do you think of this Justice League thing?
To kind of reiterate on what Gannon brought up, I think it should be noted that WB didn't want to release this. AT&T
Oh
wanted.
no, dude.
Yes, that is true. Good point.
So, let me check that off the list here.
That's a good point.
All
All right. All right.
See,
Check two.
The movie was good. I was very entertained. I think more so because we got to see it together and we got to like MST3K it. Man, we had so much fun just quipping during the movie. I think that really helped that 4 hours go by quicker than it normally would have. A few notes that I've taken. Superman screams weird. He doesn't go ah. He's like ah. I don't know why, but he's in there. Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter. Nice.
Yeah.
I got it.
I see what you did there.
Right? What else? Flash still doesn't know how to run. I think someone else brought that up.
Yeah, it's true.
Just tripping all over the place. Batman cursing feels weird. To
Yes,
me.
thank
I don't know
you.
if that felt weird to anyone else. The mirror fight with Steppenwolf, that was dope. When she was like using the water, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I don't know why she's British all of a sudden, but whatever. The Flash sequence where he saves the lady who I'm assuming is Iris from the car accident.
It is.
That whole sequence was like that sequence and the lightning thing where he's like the multiple flashes of lightning from the falling rubble. I thought those were like the excellent Flash moments. I mean, that whole like when him turning in place and like the shoes burning away because of the friction.
That was cool.
So good.
Yeah, that was good.
So good. What else? See, the thing is, like, I'm a big fan of the Flash as a character, both Barry and Wally. So everything that Ezra Miller's Flash did annoyed the crap out of me. I don't, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, but
He did seem more odd in this one, didn't he? I agree.
Well, I noticed, like instead of brunch. That whole thing, because I guess that was a Whedon cut thing. This time he's like, hey, resumes, am I right? And I'm like, oh, dude. What else? That Amazon theme? Oh, so good. The way it just showed up every time Wonder Woman did anything. It's
Hey.
very, very on brand.
Hang on a minute. Do you mean this theme?
Yeah, that's the one. I want that.
All right.
When I'm using the bathroom and when I'm grabbing a drink from the fridge and when
Okay.
I'm
What?
turning on the TV, and I just want to hear that. Oh man, so good. Let's see. Ray Fisher carried the movie. I think that was great.
Ray Fisher did carry the movie. I agree with you.
So Black Suit Superman. I thought it was cool, but I thought it was unnecessary because Superman doesn't strike me as the type of I think I'll wear the flannel today.
I agree. That was one of my criticisms too. I'm glad you brought it up. I either explain the black suit and say that it was because he's coming. He just was reborn and he's trying to absorb as much of the Earth's sun to get him back to where he is, or just say it's the colors of Krypton, whichever. But they didn't say nothing.
It's literally just a nod to the Return of Superman comics.
Yeah, I heard
Lame.
about that afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
I heard Snyder wanted him in a mullet and everything.
With a beard.
Wacky,
Weird.
right?
Oh, by the way,
A beard that they'd have to CGI out.
speaking of, by the way,
No. They would have to CG it in this case.
they would, because
Well,
if
they
you
could
think
just
about
use
it,
one of those Instagram filters. and
Yeah,
it'd
just a
be good.
Snapchat filter.
by
Yeah,
the
right?
way, Henry Cavill's lip was fabulous. His top lip in this movie was fabulous. There was
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
awkward about it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Great lip.
Let's see, what else? It dawned on me later that Superman knows Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Okay. He had to. Well, I mean, he had to have, because I mean the way they set it up, I thought,
Well,
think you would-
he's like the army guy that, like,
in Man of Steel, right?
yeah. So
He probably
yeah.
used his X-ray vision on him and realized it's not the same human physiology.
right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
And he
thinking.
was just the ironic thing is that he was just trying to see him without his uniform on.
Well,
Yeah.
first he probably took the clothes away, and he's like, you know what? I want to look a little bit closer. He's like, wait a minute, that's not a human penis.
Yeah, that's right.
When he goes back to the ship and he grabs his I guess the black suit. The voices he was hearing. That was the two dads, right? Like both sides were kind of.
Yep.
So how did Johnny
Greg
Kent
Evigan
get
and Paul
into
Reiser.
the
Yeah.
computer? Or is that
He
just
said
playing in
again,
his head?
Phormat. Greg was stepping all over what you were saying.
But how did Johnny Kent get into the computer, or was that just like playing in his head?
I'm pretty sure that's just him. I'm pretty sure this is what's rolling through his mind, man. I don't think.
Yeah, I
it was-
think that's his memories. Yeah,
All right, cool,
yeah.
cool. I was just wondering because it was kind of weird. I was like, you can inspire them and da 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 da, and then the other one was like, maybe don't save them.
Yeah, that was his.
Can
That
I
was his.
just let them die? Maybe.
Yeah,
Right?
was his earthly
that would've been
father.
great.
jeez
And
Louise.
the only thing that I kept thinking during other than like all those little bit parts, like I really enjoyed the movie, but what I couldn't help thinking while watching it was this was the what I mean, like everyone talks about the original vision and all that, and I couldn't help like this can't be this can't be the original Vision because there's no way, right? I mean,
You mean Zack's original Vision?
yeah, because that's the
Yeah.
whole point of him doing this, right? Is
No,
that
no,
this
no.
is his original Vision?
Correct.
But it's
The only
his original Vision plus, right?
no negative. The only thing that he shot
No,
was the extra 4 minutes of, or that epilogue was the only thing that he shot after. Everything else is footage that
Yeah, but
already
this
existed.
isn't what we would have gotten in 2017. That's what I'm saying. This
He would've
can't be
been-
the original Vision.
We talked it out earlier, and we said that it was going to get cut down. That would have been for sure. We would have gotten a cut down version of this if they had allowed it.
I mean, you can argue it both ways. Ultimately, if, again, with no interference, nothing happening, he probably would have chopped it down to probably just under 3 if he could have had his way. Now, with time and considering that, he's now given carte blanche to really flesh it out to be what he would actually really, really want to do if there was no restrictions, then it would be his original Vision.
Yeah.
However,
Oh,
with
okay, I
that
get
said,
it.
that extra 4 minutes, though, that's him taking the opportunity to tack more in there that he probably wouldn't have had time to do back when he shot it 3 years ago. So you could argue that, yes, it wouldn't have been his original Vision 3 years ago, but because he's given the opportunity to do it, it still technically is. So it's not what we would have had 3 years ago, but it is now due to circumstance.
Right.
Let's be fair. Regardless, this would not have been the movie even if he gotten it. This would not have been the movie we had gotten in 2017.
Right.
He was
that's
definitely
the point I'm making.
right, but the thing is that he definitely, because of what had happened with HBO Max, he definitely had the opportunity to indulge a little more in his.
Sure.
I mean, I've said a couple of times tonight. Everything about the movie is almost extremely self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Like, there's things that don't.
Yeah, you say that. But those that are outside of the circle, this is the original Vision according to them.
No. But it is. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying too.
But it isn't.
There's
At the
things
same
that
time.
he left in that movie that he would have not necessarily kept. He's just in a
Right.
position of saying, you know what? If they really want what I was going to do, then I'm going to leave in these 2 chicks singing over Aquaman's sweater for no good damn reason.
Right.
That would not have survived almost any cut.
I
of it.
wonder if, the scenes that are slowed down, if you sped that up, would that have cut off like an hour?
10% of the movie was in slow mo.
Was
But
it?
I think 10% of the movie.
Someone did the stats on that?
Apparently. But no, what Gannon was saying though is that there are scenes that would have been cut to make this a 3-hour movie, and scenes that were like Victor Stone helping that waitress out with her kid would probably have been cut out of that movie.
I think a lot of the stuff that was in the Whedon cut that was still his, all of that stuff would have probably been in exactly how his cut would have been, where it's those same damn scenes, but shorter and getting you to the point. Like Volko probably wouldn't have made it into the final cut that went theatrical, but still him. That probably wouldn't have survived his cut either.
I read somewhere that the Martha scene is actually in the original Snyder cut. Like, that wasn't some extra thing that he threw in there.
With Martian Manhunter at the tag of it, or just that scene of the 2 of them together? Really?
Yeah.
It feels tacked on.
And that was his counter, because he wanted Green Lantern in it, and the studio said no. So that was his, I'm putting him in.
Oh yeah, no, I had heard about that
The
too.
way, when you watch it, it feels like it was like they.
Yeah,
tagged
it does. It does feel that way.
It is interesting, but I have to say that this is because of the opportunity that Zack had to get this, to put this back together. I think it's a better movie for it. I think it's certainly almost a blessing that Joss Whedon did. Essentially, he used 30 minutes of Zack's footage, and the rest of that movie from 2017 is all Joss Whedon.
No, that's got to be
Something
an
like that.
overstatement, because there's a ton of that stuff in Zack Snyder's cut. That's a
30
way.
minutes.
I did
He
notice
used
that
30
a lot
minutes
of
is
the
what I
cuts
heard.
were the same cuts, but they were at different angles. Like, some of the cuts weren't Like they didn't gel quite right.
I read up on it, and they were saying that in some cases he used alternative cuts, knowing that they're of the ones that were used for the theatrical.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't see like a side by side comparison or anything. I heard
Somebody, if I could find the video, I'll send it to you. But there were some cases where he would use an alternate take just because it was in the theatrical, just to give it that extra,
right.
just to give it that extra newness that it wouldn't feel
Right.
like the same stuff you've always seen. And maybe it just tonally fit better with a 4-hour cut as opposed to a 2-hour cut.
Right. Well,
but yeah,
what else there, Phormat?
That's kind of it for me. Like I can't wait to watch. I guess Black Widow at Alika's house next.
All right. Sweet. You're gonna the sides are gonna be cut off though because
We're
this
not
one's
gonna-
actually shot in widescreen.
We're not going to watch.
Well, I don't know what the next movie is.
Which one?
Oh,
Which
King
one,
Kong and
Gannon?
Godzilla. Yeah, hell yeah,
Godzilla
dude.
vs. King Kong is this week.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that. We're gonna review that next week as well. So that's gonna be
At
good.
Alika's
Or the
house.
following week. At Alika's house
Benji.
for sure. Now, Kai, before I get to my review, Kai, what about you? What did you think?
Whoa! Well, first of all, there's the true star of that show last night,
Yeah.
Benji.
Did somebody? Hey, listen, Benji, what happened to your tooth? Did you lose it, buddy?
He lost it behind the couch.
Oh wow! Oh my
Ah.
goodness gracious! All right, that's crazy, buddy. Anyway,
Oh man.
Isn't it past your guys' curfew?
hey, we're at home, my dear. We're home, so I think
We're
it's
quarantined.
okay.
Hey, Ash, you want to do some shots?
Mrs. Maui Comics is in the house as well.
So bad.
Who's advocating for you to
Good night.
calm down?
Good
All right, I
night.
gotta go, guys.
All right, take
Night.
care. Get
Good
some
night.
sleep. Bye.
Night.
We'll talk about you later. Or we'll talk about you now while you're
Godzilla
gone.
versus King Kong or whatever.
Okay, let's talk about Mashup Alika.
All right, no. Kai, what did you think of Justice League?
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it, especially watching it with possibly you guys as well. Dear God, Benji was the joy of the show that night. Everything he said was just funny for me, and because they're trying to explain things to him.
Well-
the only thing that really irritated me was the Amazon theme. Like every time I hear it, it's like, oh God, again. It's like,
Every time it came on, I couldn't help but laugh. I thought it was
it's
hilarious.
like, it's just, turn that stuff off.
The first time I watched the movie, I was so glad that it wasn't the guitar riff that I didn't mind it.
You know what?
I
It's
just
funny,
did
though,
it.
because
I just did it.
does,
No,
like if you listen to the song long enough, it goes into the guitar riff. It's hilarious.
yeah, I heard the guitar riff. It kept on playing in my head for the rest of the night. It's like,
Yeah.
please stop. I hate you all.
The screeching cat theme.
Hey, did we have a conversation of you blasting things in people's ears? I like to keep my eardrums. Thank you.
Anyway,
But
so
no.
what'd you think?
But it was a fun movie. It kept my attention throughout the whole thing. I don't see any problem being 4 hours long. I mean, yeah, he crammed a whole bunch of things in there, but it helped out for it. But I think this
agree.
is, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think it was a good movie compared to what we got from the original cut. Again, two different movies,
Yeah.
but then
It's weird. It's kind of funny that you say that because, like, I didn't have a problem with the original.
no.
Will you leave that to me? Because I have the good cut and I can make it sound good, damn it.
Yeah. No, and it was fine for the original. I just see it's like I couldn't follow most of the original, and it was like a meh the movie. This one, it's more a little bit better. You understand where the plot is going with this one. Honestly, I enjoyed this one a lot more, especially with Darkseid in it.
Oh yeah, what did you guys think about the dark side design?
He looked like a PS4 cutscene because I saw somebody say that online already once.
Can I tell
Really?
you something? I thought Darkseid looked fantastic. I love seeing the beams. That was so cool.
The
I
Omega
was
beam?
shocked.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, the Omega beams.
I didn't
Oh.
like that scene. Because
Why?
it felt muted because it was underwater.
I was
Like, it
shocked.
didn't have the punch of the Superman eye beams.
I was
Yeah.
shocked to see how much of that flashback scene wasn't even Steppenwolf.
Yeah. Oh,
Because in
yeah.
the theatrical version, it's all Steppenwolf, but now we're seeing it was
Right,
actually
right.
meant to be Darkseid that whole time.
And that's the other thing that makes sense. But I really like how Zack, and I guess he must have done it intentionally. Zack makes callbacks or call forwards to the Aquaman movie. He actually he links it. He links Wonder Woman 1984. He linked it in Justice League. Like he links these things.
But
Well, yeah, he-
but it's assumed links that you could think they were going to do anyway. It's not like he said specifically what happens in any of those movies. I mean, we know that his brother Orm does what he does. But in the case of Aquaman, that was the next movie after Justice League, so they probably had some idea what was going to be going on in that movie anyway.
Yeah. It's not like
Yeah.
Diana's over there. Hey, remember that time I fought that cat lady?
Yeah, he didn't say anything so specific to Wonder Woman's sequel. But in Aquaman's case, that was the next movie. They were already developing that, so he knew what they were doing with Orm and all that. So,
yeah.
Well,
but that was cool. But to be honest, like in a way,
That
it's
was
kind of
cool.
cool. We got to see Aquaman first,
Yeah.
even though story wise it happens after Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Still
I got-
littering in the ocean.
I gotta
Yeah.
tell you, Kai, you done with your review? Because I gotta get
one
mine
last
off the
thing.
chest.
Okay, one last thing though. I like the design of Steppenwolf in this one compared to the other one.
Steppenwolf?
Yeah,
Steppenwolf.
that's what I said.
No, you said Stephen.
Steppenwolf.
He said Stefan.
Like Stephanie.
Like,
Those
yeah.
guys that wrote Inagata Vita.
That was
Okay,
Iron
well-
Butterfly. Iron Butterfly wrote Anagata Devita.
What's the
Steppenwolf
difference?
did. They
What's the
did. Shut up. You know what the difference is, you bastard.
Weren't they all just
All right.
doing acid and cocaine and stuff in the 70s? They probably were the same
Steppenwolf
all the time.
I
Steppenwolf
thought,
did.
I agree with Kai. Steppenwolf was cooler this time around. I like the way that the armor actually
he looked more
interacted.
intimidating. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, and it wasn't that. And this is going to lead right to my review. My biggest.
I technically
my,
didn't get mine yet, by the way.
Oh, that's right. You didn't, did you, Gannon? Gannon, you go
I
ahead.
I technically didn't get mine yet.
Gannon, you go ahead then. I'll
I don't
wait.
know. You had a point. I don't want to derail you. Go ahead.
All right. Well, let me just say this, and I'll make mine quick. I think that Steppenwolf is an actual villain in this movie. They made something of him. He was worth watching. He actually has become one of the better villains in the DCEU because of this movie. He was fleshed out. He made sense. There was reasons why he was there now, unlike the 2017 version. I thought, in my opinion, that Victor Stone obviously was the heart of the movie. He was fantastic. I thought Ben
So
Affleck
you
had a
are
little
going
more.
into your review?
I
I
am.
thought you were just going to talk about Steppenwolf and then
No.
toss it again.
I'm gonna just go through my review real quick. I thought Ben Affleck had more to do in this movie, and I resonated more with Ben Affleck's Batman now because of it, because I got a little more out of him. I thought he was good. I think the only person
I
that
keep forgetting you weren't there because we covered all this that night.
I think
So
that
you're like,
I
You're
got
on that
okay.
now.
well, that's what I'm trying to tell. Well, the people that are listening to this show weren't there either, so that's why I'm
they
trying
were
to.
there in spirit. So,
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
You know, after they were done putting telephone poles through the 18.
Stop it.
I will also say this. I think that what Zack Snyder was able to do was a blessing for him, because not many filmmakers get the opportunity to do that.
Almost none.
I think that what he did and what he has accomplished with this Snyder cut of the film is quite momentous, in the fact that Todd is right about a lot of things about this movie. Number one, this is his opus. This is his best movie, his second best movie to 300, in my opinion, without a doubt. I think that he redeemed himself from the failure that was Batman v Superman, because I wasn't a fan. This Justice League, you could watch this Justice League without watching Man of Steel or Batman v Superman and still get the point. In my that's how I but that's what I'm saying. In my opinion, I think you would. I think Steppenwolf was fantastic. Like I said, once again,
4 hours though.
Yeah, I will say that without a doubt, Darkseid was huge. There was a big point to him, and it's a shame that we're not going to be able to finish that, because Darkseid actually became a very ominous figure in this movie and something to look forward to.
I wouldn't be so sure we're never going to see that storyline paid off.
Well,
maybe not as a movie, maybe not as an animated feature, but I do imagine that they might try to finish it off in maybe a comic book series or something.
But
you were just too curious.
Yeah, maybe you could be right. My only complaints have already been mentioned. Number one, I thought the suit was Superman's suit was just thrown in there. I didn't like the Flash. I didn't think if the Flash was as fleshed out as everyone else thought. I thought he was not fleshed out enough. I didn't like the fact that we didn't know where his suit came from. That kind of bugged me.
He kind of says though.
Yeah, well,
it's all implied.
Yeah, it's all implied, I guess.
You want a 5-hour movie?
Maybe it was that good.
You need that dialogue where Barry actually says, like, yeah, I stole these parts here and these parts there. It's like, you get it, because Bruce Wayne is saying, oh, this is what they use for re-entry.
I love the fact
they're made from puppies. That's why he's feeding them sausages.
I have a few favorite scenes. One of my favorite scenes was the Lois Lane and Ma Kent. Shut up, so stupid.
Oh, dear God. Stop it.
Until I knew it was Martian Manhunter, I thought
making that.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes was Ma Kent and Lois Lane sitting down together. I love the fact that Lois Lane sees Superman in the sky when he resurrects. I thought that was really cool. Now there was a reason why he was there, and she was there, and it wasn't because of Batman, which makes perfect sense. I really like that. I thought that was very well done. I think that Zack Snyder did a lot of things right, and I think the fact that people aren't going to give this movie a fair shake is what's going to be really sad, because there's
no secret identities in this, right? In this universe?
In this universe, it does feel that way. I do agree with you on that.
There are none, right? Because, I mean, she's like Clark this, Clark that.
She
like
did.
Right in front of the cops.
Yeah,
hey, Bruce.
He opens his shirt in full view of like a whole city full of people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and
like there is no secret identities in the DCEU, right?
Yeah, like Bruce Wayne did that press conference.
I think the only one that's staying secret is Martian Manhunter, I guess.
Maybe Martian Manhunter would probably be the only one. I think that if there is one weakness after watching this Justice League movie, the fact that Zack put so much weight on Batman and Superman to carry the Justice League, I think was unfair to Superman and Batman in the respect of the movies, not in the comic book or story sense or comic book sense, but in story sense. There was so much weight that had to be put on to Batman and Superman to hold the Justice League up after a terrible movie that Batman v Superman was. It was hard to do that on the backs of Superman and Batman and not having those characters developed as well as they should have been. I think he kind of relieves that in Justice League. I think he does a very good job at trying to relieve some of that pressure of that with this movie, because this is probably, out of all three movies, this is Zack Snyder's most coherent storyline. It makes the most sense. It's not as emotionally resonating, but damn it, it is one hell of an action movie that is also extremely dramatic. And it's just unfortunate that Zack doesn't know how to handle the scenes of resonance and importance the way other directors do. It's a shame. If you had Christopher Nolan's Christopher Nolan's brain when it came to the scenes of drama, and you had Zack Snyder's brain for the action sequences, I think you'd have a near perfect comic book movie from DC.
Yeah, but
because
he look ugly as hell.
but ultimately though, I think that and
that's a good point, because the last time they took Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder and mashed it up, it was really successful.
not Joss Whedon. I said Christopher Nolan. You dingy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you take two different directors and you put them together, it's chaos. And
Did you know what Zack
Technically
Snyder?
speaking, that's what this movie was, though. Christopher Nolan was a producer on it.
That's right. He was.
He was the producer on Man of Steel.
Christopher Nolan was the one that told Zack Snyder, after he saw Justice League in the theater, he told Zack Snyder not to watch it.
No, that story is misrepresented. He's like, you know what? You should watch this Tenet movie instead.
You're such a dork.
Such a dork. His wife, Christopher Nolan's wife, I thought saw it.
No, maybe no. Christopher Nolan saw it too. They saw it together.
It was Zack Snyder's wife and Christopher Nolan, because she's the producer on it.
Yeah, they're dating. Yeah. So
that's from the Vogue article, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Them dating.
But ultimately, I gotta say that I thought that this movie was incredibly successful not because of the heroes themselves, because they were a very pivotal part. I thought it was successful because they had a good villain. Steppenwolf was there as a good adversary. He wasn't just thrown in like the one with the Joss Whedon Justice League. There was stakes involved with him. He was trying to get back in favor with Darkseid. He was trying to get
sympathize with him.
There.
Exactly, because here's the guy. Darkseid couldn't take Earth, and Steppenwolf was doing everything he could to take Earth for Darkseid, and that was really
to
big.
That point, like, Darkseid doesn't know. Like, Darkseid's been there, right?
Correct, and he couldn't take it because of the Atlanteans, the humans, and the Amazonians. He couldn't take it,
and the Lanterns.
And the Lantern. By the way, did you notice that when the Lantern got his hand chopped off, that the ring actually was going to the guy with the most strong will, and that was Darkseid, and then it kind of went
not going to him. It was flying around him. It was going away from him.
But that's what I'm saying. It flew around him, saying this guy's got pull, and then it felt his evil.
You completely misread that sequence.
That's what I got from it.
Writing your own script.
That's what I got from it.
That's not how that played out at all.
Did you didn't think that the ring was actually being pulled by his
no, I think he was just seeking out a new host.
At what? Well, that's the guy that had the strongest will.
No.
Don't you think?
And him
it just went in that direction, and then it went somewhere else.
No, I don't think so. I think it went to his direction as
because
a
point.
It
didn't waffle. It wasn't like, which way do I go?
Yeah, it looked at him.
Went this way.
Right, it went that way because of why? It went because he's the guy with the power.
Due north, stupid.
No, it was nothing to do with due north.
It was next to, which happened to be him, dummy.
Yeah, but that's my point. Is that you go that ring is going to seek out the guy that he believes has the strongest will,
or perhaps it was heading towards its former owner.
No, because his former owner's arm was cut off and he knew he was dead. Anyway.
No.
You misread
that. His arm was cut off, and so it was trying to return to its former owner. Darkseid killed him, and then it was like, oh, he's not alive anymore. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it had more to do with Darkseid.
But the stuff I come up with makes no sense. Right. Oh, he flew over to Darkseid because he's so powerful.
I think he did.
Whatever.
What?
You misunderstood that scene completely.
No way.
You
anyway,
understood
listen.
it better if you came out and
Green
watched it
Lantern
with
rings
us.
can tell when someone's evil too, though. You know that, right?
I get that. I know.
They
That's what I was saying.
Sense that, so it's not like it would go, but like, oh no, he seems cool. The ring would know it right away.
But that's why he left. That's why the ring left him, because he already.
Why would it go to him under your circumstance? Where you saying it might have gone to him?
That's what I'm saying. Because
it scanned him, realized he's bad news, and then said off. It wasn't looking at him as a host. It's like, what about this guy? Oh hell no, and then took off.
Todd, what are you gonna say?
This is riveting listening to you guys argue about this. I'm really excited about where we're gonna come out on this.
There you go. So look, see, possible. I agree with Bronzebeard 808. Anyway, getting back to my point, and this is my final point, and I'll go to Gannon and we can end the show. I think that this is
your final point or one of Todd's final points?
Hey, wait. Hey, I'm gonna let you finish. But one final point I have.
My final point is this. I think without a doubt, Zack Snyder did something that is special. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League redeems Snyder's Snyderverse, quote unquote. I don't think we're ever going to see the Snyderverse, in my opinion. I don't think that's the way Warner Brothers is going to go. I think that this is actually a decent end to his Snyderverse. I think this leaves questions. Always leave them wanting more, and this is a perfect ending. Let's call it a day. Let's close the blinds and call it a night. Let's shut the curtains. This is the Snyderverse, and it was good, and it worked. And I think that this is something that everybody will remember. And I think everyone's thoughts about what could have happened would probably be better than what would have been done at Warner Brothers. So for me, this is a 4-star out of 5-star movie, without a doubt.
With that said, there's supposed to be extra Leto scenes in the black and white cut.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Is that right?
I guess.
I read that somewhere.
Justice is gray.
Some of the first shots you saw of Leto, like he was in like this real stark-looking hallway. So there was a whole other sequence that we didn't see yet.
I hope it's the scene where the Flash goes back in time to stop the tattoo artist from putting stuff on his body. I
will say, you know what I didn't like? There's one thing I didn't like in the movie, and I forgot to mention this. And that's number one. Not that, you dumbass. What I didn't like was when Batfleck said Lois is the key, and then we go to the epilogue in his dream, and that Superman is coming after them because something had happened to Lois. And I really thought that felt a little.
Oh, you couldn't put it together?
No, it just felt.
Well, that makes sense for someone who thought Power Ring would go to Darkseid.
No, no, I'm saying that if you're gonna leave that, if that's gonna be what you leave the cliffhanger on, I thought that was kind of weak. Just leave it on Darkseid.
So wait, the cliffhanger is Joker wants to give him a reach around.
So you think that the cliffhanger being what happened to Lois that drove Superman insane and led to Darkseid taking over the entire... You don't think that's a good cliffhanger?
No. What I'm saying is that I think...
Dead, clearly, but how is it Batman's fault?
I'm just saying that we should have been focusing more on Darkseid and less about Superman becoming evil. You know what I mean?
What if that's a part of it, dummy?
I understand.
Because the only reason that Darkseid would actually win, it's implied that Superman is the thing that's in his way. They make a very big deal to say that.
I get that.
I mean, we're afraid of having a Kryptonian there. It's very.
The mommy boxes wouldn't even activate because he was there.
Superman is the thing that stops Darkseid from winning. So therefore, if you could turn Superman evil, he is no longer in your way.
I wonder if it's just Kryptonians in general. Like if they got, what's her name, Faura or whatever.
Well, the bigger question is not so much that, but how do they know Kryptonians are really a threat to them? Because Kryptonians from Krypton don't have powers.
Yeah, it's true.
So they would know that Kryptonians are superpowered anywhere else but Krypton? Or just... Because my understanding is it's just because of Earth and Earth's yellow sun that he has those powers.
Right, of course.
So do they know ahead of time? Because they say Kryptonian as if it happens all the time.
Right.
I think maybe Darkseid tried to conquer Krypton and found out that there's only crystals here. And
either that or they were so scientifically advanced they could fight him better.
Right, exactly. And he was like, I don't want any part of this. And then he went to Earth, and then they stopped him. The Alliance of the Free Peoples of Gondor or whatever, and then one of them Kryptons ended up on Earth, and he was like, the gateway's closed now. I can't get back. If only that power ring had flown to me. And
yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, Gannon, you're gonna be the last guy to tell your review. So what did you think?
That sucked.
Do it in Italian.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I can sustain that. I'm tempted.
It sucked.
It's self-indulgent.
Greto party.
I mean, I've chimed in a lot, so I've made a lot of points already. But the thing that I was kind of surprised about is that there were things in the Whedon cut that actually kind of would have been nice to have had in this one, even though.
Which would be?
Like Batman's pep talk with the Flash was actually kind of a cool moment.
And
we know now that it wasn't one of Snyder's moments, so it's definitely not why that was there. You don't like that Lois Lane shows up because she always visits Superman's memorial. I do, however, like that Batman was user. I don't want to say user, but basically she was his contingency plan in case things didn't go right. Because that's what Batman does.
That's what Batman would do. Yeah, agreed.
He's a strategist, so he thinks in terms of like, if this goes south, I need to have a contingency. I need to have something that's going to save our asses if something doesn't go right.
All right, that makes sense. You've changed my mind on that.
Yeah,
the way that Snyder conveys it, though, like he sets up that she always goes to that thing, so then she would be there. But I do bump up against how she constantly says his name out loud in front of people, because even though they don't make a big deal to say the secret identities, he's still Clark Kent.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would he need to be Clark Kent if there's no need for a secret identity?
And add on to your whole, Batman planning thing. Like, I like the fact that the Snyder Cut, like, actually had a plan.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't show up and Batman was like, all right, you guys wait in the jet while I go do Batman stuff.
In the Whedon cut, it's treated like Batman just does this Hail Mary and leaves them behind. And you're kind of watching, thinking to yourself, like, wasn't the whole point this whole movie for him to put together a team? And then he just says, I'm going to draw everybody to me. You guys go do everything. In this one, he's like, all right, I'm going to go take down the Shield. And then
they had an actual plan. I thought that was cool.
You know what? That's a good point, because one of my favorite scenes is one that I didn't mention. I love when they're sitting around the box and they're going over with one another what was going to happen. And the whole point was Superman, and the hologram of Superman came up.
You get a better grasp as to how they come to the conclusion that the mother box can help bring Superman back. Right. In Whedon's cut, it's so vague how they got to that point where you're just like, how did they get to that conclusion? In the Snyder cut, it's explained a little bit better, and you can understand how it can do what it does.
Agreed.
And on top of it, the one thing that nobody is going to ever give Snyder credit for is that things are set up and paid off very well.
Yes.
Because that moment where they trigger Superman, the argument can constantly be made like, well, if it doesn't go right the first time, they could just toss the freaking box back in again, then try again. The Flash discovers in that moment that he can, just through the Speed Force alone, he can reverse time. He didn't know that until he did that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done very subtly, but you see the box.
He does mention that time gets weird when he gets close to it.
Yeah, so through the Speed Force, he figures out that he can move it back just enough to get to where he needs to go, so he doesn't have to do it again. And that's where he discovers that he can do that at the end, which is kind of cool. And nobody's ever going to really see it that way. And maybe Snyder thought of it, and maybe he didn't. But Flash saving everybody at the end is super evocative of Richard Donner's Superman.
Yeah,
because that's how Superman saves the world.
Yeah. Rewinding time, right.
He ultimately fails, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to reverse time and set things right, because they fail, which is kind of one of the coolest things about the movie is that the Justice League fails. And
that's a good point. You're right.
Nobody probably knows that the Flash actually saved their asses at the end of it.
That's true.
He doesn't make a big deal to say.
The Flash went and did that memory loss kiss to everyone too.
He doesn't come back up and say, "Hey guys, technically we lost, but I fixed it. Don't worry about it." You know what I mean? Like, there's no moment like that.
You know what's so interesting? I mean, you bring up that point, but that makes sense considering the fact that he was injured and the fact that he had been running around that whole time waiting for Cyborg, and for him to do that was really cool. Now that I'm thinking about
enough energy to trigger into Cyborg to separate the boxes, and that alien managed to get him. So he just needed to heal up to him enough to where he could run again.
That was really cool.
Which is it's a visual thing, but you see that his metabolism helps him heal faster.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to say, "Oh, I'm going to heal." He just is trying to recover, but you literally can see that he's healing up, not at super speed.
And they give you breadcrumbs earlier in the movie when he's talking about how much he needs to consume and stuff.
How he needs to fuel up and things like that. Oh, for sure.
But, and a lot. I mean, the Flash and Cyborg are the ones that kind of shine in this version of it, because even though there's more stuff with Aquaman, it's not stuff that you necessarily need. It's just more of it. We don't really learn anything else about Aquaman in the new scenes we get with him, other than he has a brother named Orm, but that doesn't help this movie.
Oh, and that he likes hanging around in the Gotham sewage.
Yeah. But you know, one of Flash's sequences that is a beautiful freaking moment, and it's so well shot, and it's where Zack Snyder shines, and it goes back to how you're saying there's almost no emotional resonance. Is the scene where he saves Iris in the car crash? That's such a beautiful moment, except it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
No,
he doesn't know who the hell she is, and it's coming across like this very romantic sequence where he saves like the love of his life. He has no idea who she is. He's just some hot girl he saw on the road, but it's shown to you like he's saving like the love of his life.
Right.
So that part suffers because there's really no emotional backbone to it. But you know, he gets you.
And she's like she's secondary to like the sausage. Like his main goal is to save her life and then like get the job.
Yeah, he runs away from her, basically exposed himself, and you know takes off and then goes to play with the dogs.
Yeah. He puts that hot dog right in his pocket. Yeah, you're right. It's a good point.
I joked about when we watched it. Like I kind of wanted in that slow mo part where he takes one of the hot dogs and like just rubs it across her lips while she's kind of frozen. Like just kind of just slides one in her mouth. And they grab her and guide her gently to the ground. Then when she comes to, she just has the hot dog in her mouth.
You're so stupid. So stupid.
Spoken like a true Zack Snyder fan.
But,
that's not toxic at all.
Toxic.
That's not toxic at all
whatsoever. If anything, that's super supportive. Who doesn't like hot dogs? Come on now. But
that's true. What if she's a vegan though?
The major reason why it's a 4-hour movie in the first place is because he didn't have a chance to really set everybody up, which is kind of what my initial point of all of this is. A lot of people get mad about Zack Snyder that don't like his movies, and they get mad about how he handles the DC characters. The fact of the matter is that WB made the choice to use him. He's doing the best he can with the time frame that they're giving him, with the amount of movies that they're giving him to establish these things. He's doing everything he can to make this work within the confines of what they're giving him.
Correct.
They're like, we want to get to a Justice League movie, but we want to do it in 2 moves. He's like, all right, well, the only way I can see to do that is to do all this stuff. Oh, you won't let me do that? Well, guess what? The movie's not going to be great. The movie wasn't great. Now they got to give him another $70 million to make it better. Yeah. So if you like Snyder or if you don't like Snyder, the real people to blame about how this movie was handled is the studio. Nobody ever seems to want to say it's the studio's fault. It is absolutely the studio's fault. They made the choice to use him. They did not want to support his vision of it because they got cold feet because it's not like a Marvel movie. That decision should have been made long before he started shooting anything.
Yeah, and you brought up the point, like off camera, of course, that this is like normal for WB.
Yeah, it's typical. Blade Runner has 5 different cuts, for God's sake. There's an alternate cut for Superman 2. Exorcist 3 was completely recut. Yeah. Another example would be Exorcist: The Beginning. That was Warner Brothers 2, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right. It was.
Where they took it away from the director, recut it, put it out. It sucked. Everybody wanted to see a new version of it. That's
Rennie Harlan and Paul Schrader. Yeah, that's right.
So Warner Brothers has a tendency over the years to not support the filmmakers that are doing these things, and unfortunately, the fans hear about these fabled cuts and they want to see them. Right. But Snyder getting to fix it is unprecedented in his case because it's recent enough to where he can actually do it, whereas the other directors weren't afforded that opportunity. They had the footage that they had to make the best of what they did. Because if you actually watch the Richard Donner cut, it's a little rough because there are some digital shots that don't match. They had to reuse things that were in Superman the movie that, when you watch them, if you were to watch them back to back, you're like, he literally just used the time reverse thing twice in 2 movies in a row. But in the original intention, he was supposed to do that in the second movie, not the first, from what Tom Mankiewicz said.
Right. So according to history, Superman and Superman 2 were supposed to be one epic movie because they were shot at the same time.
They were shot back to back. Yeah. But Richard Donner and the producers were not getting along. Richard Donner refused to come back to finish part 2.
Correct.
So, and just similar with Zack this Zack Snyder cut, they brought another director who did not have any passion behind what that movie was supposed to be, and just repurposed it based on what they wanted him to do. So you ended up getting a movie that's not as good as it should have been. But I mean, the point I'll always make is that the time to fix it to be what the studio wanted is not after the thing's made, because it's already something else. And every movie that they try to do that with doesn't work. So if they cannot get behind these directors' visions, they just shouldn't let them make them in the first place. If you don't want to have a Zack Snyder Justice League, then don't give Zack Snyder Justice League. Go find another director that's closer to what you want. But they were too damn scared to compete with Marvel and making movies that feel like Marvel, that they decided to take a guy that's not making a Marvel movie and try to turn it into a Marvel movie. That's how we got to this point right now. With this whole
true.
Thing. So really, nobody should be getting mad at Zack Snyder. He's just doing the job that he was asked to do. If you didn't
remember,
this will affect movie making, like in the coming future. Like,
here's the thing:
releases, and if we don't like it enough, will they remake it? You know what I mean?
No,
I'm curious how much, because they saw how good this did.
They did it with Spider-Man.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 3 got a re-release. So did Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man 2 nobody hated, but Spider-Man 2 got a similar re-release.
I think you got to remember like a couple of things. Zack Snyder, with what he had, remember he was building up a Batman movie long ago. Remember, he got the Man of Steel. He was building up a Batman movie. He was even talking about doing the Green Lantern Corps. Remember, putting this in that same universe. So he had all of these things, all of these irons in the fire that he was going to do. Unfortunately, because it wasn't successful to WB standards, they said we're not going to do this anymore, and that was the biggest issue that they had.
It was just not capable of competing in a marketplace where the movies that they were trying to compete against are charming and light and fluffy. Those movies aren't going to do as well as those movies because it's completely different audiences. So if that's what you rather than be, then you should hire people that are going to make those movies that way.
Correct.
And
well, that's why they hired James Wan for Aquaman, right?
And Aquaman's a success. It worked out, and it feels a little bit closer to our Marvel film. The problem is that they were making an Aquaman movie off of the strength of what Zack Snyder had set up. So now they're stuck in this weird loophole where all these casting choices that were made by Zack Snyder that they don't want to support because his movies don't work, Wonder Woman and Aquaman did, but you don't want to change them up. So now they're doing this Flashpoint movie to try and fix it to where they can keep what they want to keep and jettison what they want to jettison.
Right. And that makes sense.
WB just needed to do what Marvel did in the first place. Find a producer that cares about these books, these characters, these storylines, and have them be the engine that facilitates all these movies. If you want to have them all linked together, they needed to have a Feige. And so far, all these other guys that have been kind of the dudes that are the linchpins behind this, they don't really seem to care about it. Like they don't support the vision of the directors, and they don't support what these films could be.
Yeah,
that's why their failsafe is like, you know what? From now on, we're not going to make all these movies in continuity. We're just going to make all these random movies and just make them all solo adventures. And maybe that will work, but if they get these directors to make great movies that people want to see, that's great. I'd like to see that. And maybe that's the one thing that DC can do that Marvel doesn't do. Marvel fixates on having a continuity. Maybe that will be a strong suit for DC where it's not all connected. But there's going to be that small part of you that wants to see a Justice League movie. You know what I mean? Maybe something a little bit different. You know, because I would like to see a Justice League movie that's a different tone than this. I don't hate this movie. I like this movie quite a bit, as a matter of fact. It's got a ton of flaws to it.
It does.
There's a lot of things I don't like in it. But overall, it was bound to be better than the Joss Whedon cut just because it's coherent.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I completely agree with you 100%. And I think this is an opportunity that, just getting back to Phormat's point, I think this is going to do nothing to change the way movies are going to be shot or reshot. I think that's all changing already because of the COVID thing. Hollywood and movie making have been changed forever because of this, and things are going to change in that respect. So I don't think Snyderverse or any of this is going to have any bearing on that, because that's already changing as we move along anyway.
I don't think this new campaign to like restore the Snyderverse is going to get anywhere.
No. Or restore the Ayer cut. I don't think that's happening either.
As I've said with Phormat before, like for Warner Brothers, this is just a really expensive lesson for them.
Mm-hmm.
That that maybe they shouldn't have decided to change lanes so quickly on something they already spent a ton of money on, to where it cost them an extra $70 million on a movie that tanked because fans wanted to see what they decided to step on. You know, a smarter person would just say, let's make these movies and just not let this damn information out there that there's a different version of that, which is harder to do in the age of social media. But I can also see studios being greedy and say, you know what? We'll hold on to everything. And if they want to see that other cut, we'll have that available for them. Because now they have this. Now they have streaming networks they can put these things on. So it could change in that regard. I don't think Sony will do any of this. I don't think Sony's going to have release the Paul Feig cut of of Ghostbusters or the our better cut of Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't think Sony will ever do that. But yeah,
Sony's got irons in the fire already, though. To be honest, they still got Morbius and they still got the sequel to Venom. Those are in the can.
Yeah,
So,
what we're talking about is movies that they're going to try and fix and re-release if they don't do well. That's what that's what the conversation's about, is it not?
Yeah. No, I get you. I think that
It's just
think
odd that it always seems to be Warner Brothers that suffers the brunt on these things. Always.
that's a fair statement.
Because
Yes,
I've read in many articles that there's been some movement on original Schumacher cut on Batman Forever, because his initial cut of it was a lot darker than the movie we got.
It was.
And I'll be honest, I want to see that too.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that sucks about that, though, is that he's not physically here to cut it. So we would have to assume that it either already exists as a cut that they would have to finish and color correct or whatever they would need to do to release it digitally now, or there would have to be somebody that had a very intimate relationship with him in the sense of knowing exactly what he would have done, which is probably harder to do because it's harder to get into somebody's head, or unless they just happen to know beat for beat exactly what he wanted. But I'll support any director's cut, good or bad. If it's worse, then it's worse. But at least you'll know what the director and these writers meant to do.
What the vision is, for sure. All right, now listen, gents. I'm going to go around the table really quick, starting with Phormat at the top. I want your star rating on Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Phormat, out of 5, what do you give it?
Out of 5?
Sir.
I like it. So I'll give it a 4.
4?
4.
Good.
Maybe 4.5.
4.5. Ooh,
no,
okay,
I don't
4.5.
do half, so I'll give it a 4.
All right. Kai, what about you? What do you give it?
4, sir.
4? All right. Todd Bernardi, the very controversial and apparently tired Todd Bernardi. What do you give it?
I would say I'll give it half a star. I'll give it 4.5 stars.
Wow, Todd Bernardi, controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Gannon, what about you?
Oh God!
Can I just say that was the single hands down worst choice of the Snyder cut?
I didn't mind it. It wasn't that bad.
I absolutely hated it.
I heard
No
that.
woman in that movie could do an action beat in that without that kicking in, and it drove me absolutely insane.
It did.
I found it comical, actually. Like, every single time that theme came on, I was cracking
That's
up.
why I hated it, because every time it happened, I wanted to laugh and not really get into like how intense the scene was. It wasn't intense. It was just like, are you for real? We're gonna have to hear this every time Wonder Woman flips her hair,
Gannon.
or farts in public, or
So, Gannon, with that being said, what is your star rating for Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I mean, I hope that's the obvious aren't listening, but I give it a 4.
A 4? That's good. I am with you guys. I said it earlier. I think 4 is fantastic. I think 4 is right because with all the flaws I think that are there, I think that 4 is more than fair. And I think without a doubt, I think Zack Snyder has accomplished something that very few filmmakers have the opportunity to do, and this is his opus to the DC universe. And I think that
I wonder if Josh Trank hates him right now.
I bet he does.
Because Josh Trank
says the fours have it. Yes, we do, dang it.
Because Josh Trank had an entirely different fantastic. You know what? And to be honest with you, that would be a cut I'd want to see. Because his Fantastic Four was supposed to be Fantastic Four meets Cronenberg, which is not what fans wanted to see. But that sounds super fascinating.
That'd be awesome.
It does
I
sound
like
like
Cronenberg.
When you really think about it, the Fantastic Four is kind of a body horror type of story when you explain it to somebody. It's not conveyed that way in the comics, but if you were to tell somebody, it's like, this guy gets blasted with cosmic rays in a spaceship and all of a sudden his limbs can grow really long, that sounds horrifying when you think about it.
What?
Or this guy turns into rock.
That sounds like an endearing love story.
Sure it does. Sure it does. Well,
One for
listen.
the ages, sir.
Release the trank cut.
Release the trank cut of Fan 4 Stick.
Todd Bernardi, before we get out of here, how have you been? Where are you going? What are you doing? And will you be back more often?
Yeah.
I'll
be back
school,
I'll be back more often. I've been enjoying Professor Barry's class at University of Hawaii, and just been working on trying to get the next 2 issues of Kukui Project in the can for September.
Ooh,
Wow,
2 issues?
2 issues?
Yeah.
In 1 month? Wow.
No, 2 issues by this September.
Oh, I gotcha. All right, gotcha. Well, Todd Bernardi.
Greg, I don't know if
you
you
know,
know,
that's
but with
gonna
the
be awesome.
pandemic, we have nothing but time on our hands.
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize this, but with the pandemic, we've got nothing but time on our hands.
That's true. Oh, 2 issues.
You know
Todd,
what?
I'm excited for you.
You should illustrate the Josh Trank cut of Fan 4 Stick.
Bronzebeard 808 said he needs those, Todd.
Awesome. I'm working really hard. All right, I had somebody from Portland contact me about it, so I got to get those out pretty fast.
All right. Well, listen, keep us abreast of, it is 2021. You guys are such immature teenagers. I swear to God.
You're the one who said
I'm
it.
looking. I'm going to share it to you guys later, but I'm looking at a meme of Don Cheadle from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they did a circle around like his eyebrows being furrowed, and there's a picture linked to Mephisto.
Wow.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
I like it.
Todd, will you, because it is 2021, will you let us know if there are any conventions that will be happening across the country? If you're going to be partaking in any of them, or
The 2 that I would like to do this year is Rose City and Portland. I'll find out about that in June.
Not Maui? Okay, I see how that goes. All right.
And then,
I'm going
sequentially, because usually Maui Comic Con happens in October. I'd love to be there for that.
Yeah.
And then,
but I don't know now. Then you don't want to be part of the show.
And then Kauai-Con's happening in December this year, so maybe I'll actually get to Oahu for a show finally.
fantastic. I thought Kauai-Con was on the Big Island.
Kauai-Con?
No, Kauai-Con's on Oahu.
Oh, that's right.
Wait,
Kauai-Con's on
Todd,
Oahu.
I didn't catch
Hawaii-Con
that.
is on the Big Island. Got it.
Yeah, they're supposed to do an actual in-person show. They're gonna do a digital online thing in May.
Well, there's 2 now.
Yeah.
There's Kauai-Con and then there's Kawaii-Con.
So when is the actual physical
December.
There's Kauai, the
December.
island.
And
Kai,
Kauai,
Kai, if you want me to give you a physical, just come over to my house.
Do you have gloves?
Well, I'll see you guys later. See you again in a little bit.
I don't
Well,
use gloves. That's the only thing.
Oh, okay. You don't use gloves. Okay, that's fair.
Are we doing
Well-
hard media today or what?
You know what? I was just gonna go to you for that really quick. Any hard media that we should be concerning ourselves with, sir?
It is a light week. One of the key ones to mention is Shout Factory is releasing Event Horizon Collector's Edition. Unfortunately, since the discussion has been about Director's Cut, it does not include the Paul Anderson Director's Cut of Event Horizon, which is another fabled Director's Cut people wanted
Damn
to see.
it! Really?
Some of the deleted footage may be on it. I'm not sure on that, but there is no Director's Cut for this one. Unfortunately,
That
there was
sucks.
none to be had.
That sucks.
Yeah,
there are
good
some
for
for-
you.
There are some 4K releases. Gattaca, Godzilla.
Whoa! What's wrong with Gattaca? Gattaca's a great movie.
That's Alika's favorite movie.
No, that's Aron's favorite movie.
By the way, you said Godzilla. That's the 2014 Bryan
It is
Cranston.
the 2014. Strangely enough, though, the cover looks like it's flat out from the Japanese films. So I
It's
don't
a cool
know.
cover. It's a
Maybe
cool
they
cover.
use a weird cover. There is a Best Buy version of it that has a way better cover, though. There was a French movie called Raw, which I would recommend people pick up. I'm not going to get into the subject matter of it. Go look that stuff up yourself.
I know about that. That is cool.
That Disney Pixar movie Soul is coming out today on Blu-ray as well.
Avoid that with like the plague. That movie sucked.
If you're still willing to support Warren Ellis, who has been canceled a while back, Castlevania Season 3 is coming out on Blu-ray today.
That's right. That's why I don't watch it anymore.
I double dog dare
why
support
I
him.
stopped watching it.
And then I don't know what anniversary this is, but Friday the 13th Part 2 is getting Steelbook, which is actually a Target. I'm surprised that they had it. I think it's the 40th anniversary. I think
it's the Friday anniversary.
Wait a minute. Why would they even bother with that when they already have the Shout Factory one?
Well, this is the 40th anniversary Steelbook edition of Part 2 because we're on the. It's the 40th anniversary. Okay. What else we got? That's kind of it. The only other noteworthy thing to mention is, as we discussed last week, the BVS reissued a 4K, which is the color-corrected version that Snyder did in anticipation of Justice League. So I guess they fit a little bit more tonally. That's coming out today as well. Nice. And it's actually on HBO Max, so you don't have to pay for it if you don't want to, if you already have HBO Max.
If you own it digitally, by the way, you get it they upgrade it for free if you own it digitally.
Yeah. I don't know if this is something anybody would care about for hard media, because I feel like if you love these movies, you'd have them already. Disney released a 4-movie collection for Avengers. So it's just the 4 Avengers movies in one box set.
Is that what you're getting, Todd, for Christmas?
No. Oh, here's one. Here's a fun one. If anybody remembers the band Green Jello from the they have Green Jello Sucks Live coming out on Blu-ray, which, if I'm not mistaken, is their documentary, which I don't know if anybody knows this about Green Jello. Green Jello has lime. They have 200 members in the band.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, as I learned in this documentary, it's one guy who establishes members in different cities and towns, and he literally just travels there, hooks up with them, and then those guys play the show. So it's not one core band, it's one guy, and he has all these people like all over the United States and even in like Europe and stuff like that. He gets together with them, and then that's the band in that town or that city.
That's cool. That's kind of like Scary Pockets. Scary Pockets is like that too.
Pretty cool idea. Nobody else does it that way, that's for sure. And I think that's actually it. Yeah, that's it for this week.
Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, get your heart. What?
Wait. There's also this porn film called
One final thing.
What's it called?
It's apparently there's a porno movie coming out this week called Crossed Swords. At least I'm assuming it's a porno.
No, it's not. It definitely isn't. I know. No, it's not, Todd. I'm admonishing Todd, and I meant Gannon.
Oh wait. Maybe this one is. This one's called Shootout.
Nope. Nope.
Are you sure, dude?
I'm pretty sure.
What about this one? Schoolgirls in Chains.
Definitely not, because I know that movie. It is definitely not a porn.
All right. Okay, this one has to be a porn. This one's called In the Mood for Love.
No, not at all. Nope. Not even close, sir.
Okay, what about this one then? Days of Being Wild. That's clearly a porn.
Nope. I can tell you that for sure as well, sir. You're batting 0 for 1,000.
You're a damn liar, dude, because this one's called Fruits Basket. That one's got to be a porn.
No, that's an anime. Yeah.
No, it's a porn.
No.
What season?
That's season 2.
Season 2? Awesome.
If you're a fan of Serbian film, this is definitely got to be a porn, Greg. This one's called Baby Done.
Definitely not. Nope. Not even close. No.
Jesus.
Anyway,
listen. To get ahead for next week, by the way, there's one big noteworthy release for next week. If anybody wants to get excited about it, Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out on Blu-ray.
Is it already? Jeez.
It's third.
Well done,
wow,
that feels
You're
fast.
waiting all show for that cue.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
job, Greg.
Did you say Wonder Woman 1984? All right.
God.
Sweet.
Oh wait, here's another one. The Big Bust Out. Come on, that's got to be a porn.
Okay, I'll give you that one. That one
Wait.
definitely is.
Wait,
wait,
I
wait,
feel
wait.
Wait. That one.
There's this one too. The Bad News Bears. That's a porn.
Why are you trying to push this? I swear to God.
Oh, there's this one too. A pain in the ass.
I feel like
All right,
Green-
Are these legit movie titles?
I'm not
Enough-
making them up.
enough
These are
out
all
of you.
movies Coming out. These are all movies coming out.
wait, but Green Jello Sucks is not a porn.
No, that one is too. Okay, Greg, you're a liar. This one's got to be a porn. The New York Ripper.
Where
No.
are you seeing this? I can't see
The
this
New York
one.
Ripper. Come on, that's a porn.
No,
That's-
definitely
The
not.
New York Ripper.
Idiot.
Where is this?
That's a
Such
porn,
an
dude.
idiot.
That's got to be a porn.
Definitely not.
Oh man.
Fallen
Anyway,
Angels looks
listen,
like a porn.
it's we have been on for the last 2.5 hours going over Justice League. Couple of things, of course.
Yeah, we got an hour and a half to go.
Right.
I was half asleep.
I
Todd
thought we were
Bernardi,
going
oh.
for the same length.
Todd Bernardi, of course. Make sure to check him out at Kakui Project on Instagram. Where can we find you on the socials there, Gannon?
Huh?
Gross. What the hell is that?
Don't
I
even
think
look.
isn't he on Tinder or Grinder? Or
I'm on. Okay, if you want to find me there, I'm on Tinder, OkCupid, Bumble, and Grinder. I'm on those.
All right,
Okay,
fantastic.
Cupid? Wow.
All right, okay, Cupid. All right, Kai, where can we find you if you want to be found?
Oh, I cannot be found. I choose that way because
Okay.
You can find him at
Yes.
Target. He's usually pulling the carts in when I'm there. He's never
Wow.
wearing his mask because I guess he just wants to catch COVID and spread it to everybody that visits Target.
I am by myself, away from everyone else.
You're
I am
touching
not in
the
contact.
carts. You're making contact with stuff everybody touches in that store.
Oh, so me making contact with the carts, and then I have to touch everything else too.
Yeah,
I'm not
like-
breathing on the carts. I wash
like-
my hands. I constantly wear
But
gloves.
do you wash your hands every time you touch the carts? I'll bet you $1 million bucks you don't. There's no freaking way you do. Who are you kidding?
All
It's
right.
because I'm wearing gloves. That's
You're
why.
a dad. No, you're never wearing gloves. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Okay, next time you see me, you'll see I don't have gloves, and then you know I'm
You
right.
see,
Plus,
when
hey,
you say that now, of course you're going to wear gloves, but I've never seen you wear gloves there anytime I'm there.
Hey,
when
Kai.
when
Hey,
is
Kai,
anytime you
since-
look at my
Kai.
hands?
Kai, since you have an extra set of gloves, maybe you could give Gannon the old checkup.
Reach around.
Well, I'm already driving
Actually,
down.
you know what?
there,
There
right?
was one more thing I wanted to mention. Everybody,
Okay.
everybody was talking about Batman swearing in the movie.
COVID shaming over here. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this right now. I cannot allow as much as I want that to bother me. I also exist in a world where Batman called Robin a retard in the comics, which is actually worse. So I want to get mad about
No,
him.
man. Retard means slow.
He literally looks at Robin and says, "What are you, dense? What are you, retarded? I'm the goddamn Batman."
Yeah,
He
like
said this in a
are
comic book.
you slowing fires? Like, are you fire retardant?
Wait a minute. Can you tell me what issue that's from, or which
It's-
one that's from?
It's
think
All-Star Batman and
it's
Robin.
All-Star Batman and Robin, written by Frank Miller, drawn by Jim Lee, and I want to say it's issue 3.
Wow.
It's actually very famous for exactly that reason. He calls Robin a retard.
Wow, man.
So
That's
I
incredible.
cannot get mad about him saying the F word to Joker, being that in the comics he says something that, even though it's not technically a cuss word, the context of it is terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, that's
power
true.
rings don't fly to dark side either. So
Shut up.
Yeah.
Anyway, boys and girls, one thing I want you to know is
Wait.
Yeah.
Here's another porn movie.
killing
Sunday
me.
Without God. That's got to be a porn movie.
Shut up. You're such an idiot.
Oh,
You're
Attack
such
on
an
Titan
idiot.
season 3 came out on Blu-ray.
Also a porn.
Yeah,
All right, listen.
giant naked people.
All
I
right.
think I saw that on the flight over.
All right, we're out of time, but I do want to say this: there's going to be a very special NerdWatch podcast on Sunday, April 11th, and I want everybody, and I want you guys to know that you are not invited.
Sunday, April.
Oh, it's gonna be Barry and Aron. Watch. They're gonna
No,
talk
it's not.
There's
Actually,
something.
it's not. I'm getting
Is
together.
this the Circle Jerk show? Is this the
I
one
feel like
that
it
we're
is.
talking about?
It sounds like it.
No, this is gonna be the first time ever because I've been getting it together with these guys. First time ever, the
These
NERDWatch is gonna
guys.
do a wrestling podcast.
Oh
Okay.
Christ! I'm gonna stay out on by choice.
See,
Ah.
that's what I'm saying. So
Why are you doing it on the NERDWatch time slot?
we're doing it on NERDWatch because wrestling is a nerd thing. So WrestleMania
not.
is April.
It's not.
WrestleMania is the 11th
I
of
mean, it
April.
is, but you
It's
could
not.
do
I'm gonna
your
interrupt
own
you 'cause it's not.
show somewhere
Okay,
else.
it's a nerd thing.
Don't let
all right.
the other
No, it's not.
nerds
It's not at
suffer
all.
Okay,
because you
okay,
want to
okay.
focus on a thing.
What you
Rest-
guys should do is do Sweaty Man Watch.
WrestleMania. We're gonna do the WrestleMania podcast on the NERDWatch the day after day 2 of WrestleMania on April 11th.
You know that stuff's not worth watching without penetration, right?
Oh God, you're such an idiot. All right, listen.
Like, what's the point of
That's it.
watching two guys rubbing up on each other if they don't penetrate?
Hey.
Stop it.
Wait.
How
okay,
how
wait.
come you're not playing the why? How come you guys aren't playing the Wonder Woman theme right now? I
Oh.
heard. Yeah,
Because that's for women.
Um,
Oh, but I guess women wrestle too.
women
They do
wrestle
wrestle.
in WrestleMania.
But
Okay, wait.
Greg doesn't watch the women wrestlers. He only wants to
I
watch
do.
guys
I like
rubbing
watching
each
the
other.
women
when
wrestlers.
is
But
the show of yours?
There's nothing wrong with that. Don't kink shame.
Yeah,
Okay.
April when?
April
Wait.
11th.
This is the only first time I'm
that's on
hearing
a
about
Sunday.
this.
All right.
So what are we doing after this? After WrestleMania and stuff, we're just gonna jump on.
That's what I just freaking said.
Well, I
Second
can't
day.
hear everyone.
Second
everyone's
day,
talking over.
the WrestleMania is two nights. It's 2 nights. It's April 10th and 11th. We're gonna do both show reviews on the 11th, Sunday the 11th, and it's gonna be a bunch of wrestling nerds. Okay, so Sunday the 11th. Okay, right after the second night of WrestleMania.
I thought
All
you
right.
were doing it on a Tuesday. I was like, why are you cutting our
No,
shows?
not doing it on a Tuesday. We're
bunch of
doing it on.
rejects.
Hey,
We're
hey,
doing it on a Sunday.
hey! Thanks for giving me the heads up. I wasn't taking the day off. I was gonna watch it later. You jackass.
Well, you are more than welcome to take the day off if you want to, but we're doing it via this right here. Okay, so WrestleMania Roundup, April 11th. All right, it's happening. All right, Todd, you're invited. All right.
Okay.
That's,
I'll show up to anything if there's snacks and beer.
I'm not gonna watch that bullshit.
hey, watch your language. All right, so it's gonna
You
be a
know,
lot
I'm
of
sorry.
fun.
You guys
I'm not gonna
should
watch that
convince
poppycock.
Alika to host it at his house.
If you guys
Let's-
are more than welcome.
yeah.
We're doing it on the NERDWatch. We're gonna do it live, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I figured, we've never done it before. I've wanted to experiment with it for quite some time, so I'm just kind of experimenting. So this is the
try to
perfect
do it
time.
live.
Yeah.
That
So
show's gonna crash and burn.
Oh, it is. It's gonna be probably is.
hey, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, we're out of time, boys and girls. Have a wonderful week, Todd
Sweaty
Bernardi.
nerds talking
It's
about
so
sweaty dudes
good seeing
doing
your
sweaty backflips
white
off of sweaty
bearded
ropes.
face.
That's a whole
All
lot
right.
of sweatiness I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, so it's so nice seeing your bearded white face on the show. I'm glad you could be here, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
And we hope you're
enjoyed
back
your,
soon.
Spring break.
Hope you're back soon as well. Yeah, Ron smeared ate all the sweaty. All right, we're out of time. Have a wonderful week, guys, and watch the Justice League, because if you're going to listen to us, we gave it 4 out of 5 stars, something you're going to want to see. So,
Don't watch it. Just watch Tom and Jerry.
shut up. So, for the man we call the Dark Knight, for Todd Bernardi, for Kai, for Phormat, I am G Money. Until next week, Tuesday. Peace out. Much love, and most assuredly, always stay nerdy. And we'll see you right back here on the NERDWatch next time. Until next time, people, aloha.
FIFA Black Market.